Sorry, guys, what's going on? I hope you guys are well. My connection went, hence why I had to start again. But yeah, let's get going again. Um, the connection died, unfortunately, guys. There wasn't much I could do. The connection literally died. So yeah, guys, let's get back. Let's get back to it. Um, what do you guys? So unfortunately, like I said, my connection went. Let me get the link back. Yeah, I need to sort the connection out. It just dies sometimes. But yeah, anyone wants to jump on, you can jump on. But yeah, fortunately the connection died, guys. But yeah, anyone wants to jump on, you're more than welcome to jump on. We can talk. We can talk about fighter of the year, upset of the year, um, KO of the year, prospect of the year. Get your questions in, guys. So H says, "Hey Imran, Ray, and everyone, Merry Christmas to you all. Hope you had a good one. Yeah, you too, brother. Hope you had a good one as well. Um, yeah. What do you guys? Who do you guys think was the fighter? Who do you think was the fighter of the year, guys? Who do you think should be fighter of the year? Who was fighter of the year, in your guys' opinion? Who won fight? Who do you think should win fighter of the year? Let me know what you think in the comment section. Who's fighter of the year? For me, personally, I obviously, as you guys know, I think Canelo deserves fighter of the year. I think his body of work was better than anybody else's. He, beat two undefeated world champions, beat Abner Yildirim, had three fights. And if you look at his run from December 2020, I know it was 2020, in 10 months, he cleaned out a division. There's also Josh Taylor, who was undisputed. He had a fight with Ramirez. And Usyk deserves a shot as well. Usyk beat Anthony Joshua, which was a great win. And probably the best performance of the year, without question. He, he beat Anthony Joshua in a fight that a lot of people didn't expect he'd win. So that's a great win. That deserves a shout. Canelo's achieved too much this year for it to be anyone else. Yeah, I have to agree there. I think he has achieved more than anybody else. I think he deserves a shout. Got to be Canelo a fighter of the year. So let's see what he says. Got to be Canelo fighter of the year and got to be Kambosos of shock of the year. Haha, yeah. Well, Kambosos was shock of the year because nobody expected Kambosos to beat Lopez. So yeah, I'd agree with that. I think he definitely deserves uh shock of the year. Um, but yeah, I'd definitely agree with that. H. Get your questions in, guys, and smash the like button. Get all your questions in. Let's get answering these questions. Okay, so H says Canelo's achieved too much this year for it to be anybody else. Anyone else. So get Ray says, I still think Gabe Rosado was KO of the year, maybe shock of the year. Yeah, that's a good one as well. He beat the bully. That was a great knockout. But I think Jake Paul wins knockout of the year. That was the most brutal knockout I saw all year. It's got to be Jake, right? Jake Paul knocked Tyron Woodley spark out. Oh yeah, Martinez. That was an upset as well, and that could have been knockout of the year as well. To be fair, that was a good knockout. Yeah. Martinez knocking out Galahad. That was a great knockout as well. He flattened him. So that could be knockout of the year as well. That was a great knockout. H says, I'd say Usyk for shock, but I wasn't too shocked when he won. To be honest, yeah, I think Usyk. I don't really think that was an upset, that big an upset. To be honest, I think Canelo fought nothing but soft punches. Canelo fought nothing but soft punches, powering punches, punching power, boxers at 168. Nappy ahead. Natty says that Canelo only fought soft punching fighters. Does that mean he can't be fighter of the year? But what about the way he beat the champions? They were undefeated at the time. Yeah, good shout. So H says, good shout, Ray. How could I forget that being a Sheffield man? Yeah. So H is from Sheffield, and he saw Galahad, get knocked out against Martinez. But to be honest with you, I think that could win shout of knockout of the year. I'm not sure if it's the upset of the year. It was Martinez Galahad upset of the year. No, I didn't really rate Galahad that highly for it to be the upset. Whereas I think Teofimo and Kambosos was a massive upset. Again, I think that win against Lomachenko flattered us, and we kind of started overrating Teofimo a little bit. And maybe Teofimo was never that good that the credit we gave him after the Lomachenko win, maybe we gave him too much credit, and maybe he wasn't as good as what we thought he was. But yeah, my man Cito, what's going on, Cito? You there? I don't know, Cito, you there? What's going on? You all right? Cito, can you hear me? Cito, you there?
Yeah, I'm here, brother. I'm just trying to see what's up with the volume.
All right. Okay, I'll sort your volume out. Yeah, there you go.
No, I'm just trying to see. Okay, the volume here is a little on the goofy side, but what's going on, man?
All good, man. All good. All good. It's good. It's good talking to you, man. Good talking to you.
Same as you. Same to you, man.
Yeah, it's always good talking to you, Cito. Who's your fighter of the year then? Canelo.
Give me 1 second, dude. I'm trying to see what's up with the audio. Hold on.
No worries. No worries. Let me answer these questions while you're sorting that out. So Mark Casey says, Tay Jones knockout of the year. Jake Paul isn't a pro boxer until he fights an actual boxer. Yeah, good point. Warrington Lara, when was that, Ray? That was last year, wasn't it? Was that this year? I'm not sure that was that this year? I can't remember. Probably was, to be honest. Probably was.
Hey, Imran. I got a question. Is it echoing?
A little bit, yeah.
That's what I figured. Let me see one thing.
Yeah, so February this year. Oh, was it February this year? Yeah, so that's a big upset, to be fair. That's quite a big upset, to be fair. I'd have to say that's up there. That's up there. Is it bigger than Kambosos Lopez? I'm not sure. That's a big upset, actually. So H says, I can remember there wasn't. H says, was that this year? I was think Warrington v. Lara, but feels like it was ages ago. What about Devonte Davis v. Leo Santa Cruz? When was that? Was that this year or last year? Devonte Davis v. Leo Santa Cruz. When was that? Lara had no chance. So Lara had no chance. Lara obliterated Warrington, to be fair. You're all acting like Kambosos Jr. had no chance. He did. Yeah, Kambosos did have a chance, but I think a lot of people at the time weren't giving him any chance. He was a massive underdog as well. To be honest, I think he was a massive underdog as well. So so it says here, Nappy Head Nate says Devonte and Cruz exciting style. Yeah, that was a good fight. Cito, your connection's not allowing me to let you in. You need to go out and come back in, see if it works. Yeah, so Devonte and Cruz, that was a weird type of fight, to be honest. Devonte and Cruz. I didn't get, I expected more from Tank in that fight. It wasn't the greatest fight, to be honest. Wasn't the greatest fight at all.
Better.
Yeah. Hello.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, can hear you. Can hear you. Yeah.
Now I can hear you loud and clear.
Yeah. Cito, Canelo. Obviously, we were talking about. I didn't get to talk to you about a few things about Beterbiev and him being fighter of the year. Obviously, we'll talk about. Do you think Canelo Alvarez was fighter of the year?
Yeah, dude. I mean, listen. I always try not to be biased with anybody, but he is one of my favorite fighters, and I honestly think, yeah, he does deserve to be the fighter of the year because he fought what 4 times in 11 months. Yeah, he
Yeah.
deserves it, man. And he became undisputed.
Yeah. What about who he fought?
Who?
What about who he fought? The level of competition as well.
Yeah, he fought good. He fought real good competition. Um, I think his winning statement was against Caleb Plant was what cemented him as just honestly the lineal 168 pounder super middleweight. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. So do you think so? Let's take his resume one by one. He fought Callum Smith in December. How do you see that fight?
That was a good. Okay, so here in the United States or in the U.S., people don't know Callum Smith, but anybody who's a true advocate or a true fan of boxing knows that he was a champion. So I mean, he to me, Liam Smith, Callum Smith, sorry, Callum Smith, he's not a pushover. He was an undefeated fighter.
Mm.
I mean, I think he did his job when he went in there. He took the belt. You know what I mean? He took him all 12 rounds. He battered his arm. I mean, he dented his face pretty good. And I mean, look at Callum Smith now. Now he's fighting aggressive. He learned something from that fight. So, I mean, yeah, that was a real good fight.
Then he fought Avni Yildirim in February.
Okay, Abney Yildirim, that was his mandatory. I mean, what? Look, when people say that, oh, he's cherry picking. He didn't want to fight for a belt. All right, and they want to blame him for not picking David Benavidez. That's David Benavidez' fault, and I like David Benavidez. I think he's a great fighter. He's a wonderful talent. He's young. He's green though, but who has he fought? And everybody's like, well, he went after the easy person who has no name, no real resume. He went in there to try to just win a belt. He cherry picked. No, he didn't. He went in there, he saw the opportunity, he beat him in what, 4 rounds, and he took the belt. Simple as that.
Yeah, I think Avni Yildirim was his mandatory. I think
Yeah,
wasn't it?
but
Avni
see,
Yildirim was just his
here's the
man.
thing that I'm so sick and tired of hearing people talk about. David Ben. Look, David Benavidez had his golden opportunity. I get it, the pandemic and the restrictions and everything. But if I was a professional prize fighter, all right, if I held a belt, it is my job with my management, with my team, and ultimately me to make sure my weight stays where it needs to be so I'm not going to suffer at the end. No excuses, no making up, oh, this person's fault and the pandemic didn't let me do this and I no 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 no. At the first is you, last is me. You know what I mean? So at the same token, you cannot blame Canelo for going after the person who had the belt. If David Benavidez would have made weight and would have lost his belt, that would have been the fight he would have went after. Simple as that.
Yeah, I'd agree. I'd agree. I totally
So
agree
when
with you.
people say that, oh, Canelo's scared, he cherry picks. No, the man is not a cherry picker. He's not scared. Remember one thing: there is levels to this boxing game, and I'm just a fan. I'm not a person who knows what happens behind the scenes. But common sense tells you that obviously politics plays a role. It's all about who you know, what you know, and on top of it, if you put yourself in position, Canelo put himself in the position where he was going after all the belts, and anybody who had a belt, okay, that's who he went after to try to cement his legacy as undisputed. So when people keep saying that, oh, he was cherry picking, he was picking his fights, well, Mayweather did the same thing. I don't see anybody talking shit that he did. And Mayweather is one of the greatest fighters of our generation, defensive wise. You look, what's his name? Miguel Cotto did the exact same thing. Manny Pacquiao did the same thing. Why aren't people have bad memories? Remember when Manny Pacquiao was going for his eighth world division champion against who was it, Margarito? What's the biggest thing people keep forgetting? There was a catch weight with that one. He fought him at what? The catch weight was 150. When he fought Cotto at welterweight, same thing. What was the catch weight? 144. So I'm half Filipino, man. I'm very proud of Manny Pacquiao and his accomplishments, but people tend to keep forgetting there's catch weights. When Floyd fought Canelo for the 154 when he was only 23 years old, what happened? He was on a catch weight, 152.
Mm, mm.
Every champion in this boxing game, man, has always done something. All they did was just they took Mayweather's blueprint and did it on their own. Get what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, totally, man. Totally agree with you, man. Totally agree with you. It's like, um, like Canelo went 11 fight. I mean, sorry, 11 months. He fought 4 fights and he cleaned out a whole division. Obviously, there's some people saying that obviously there's other fighters in that division like Benavidez that he needs to fight to clean that division out. Although
But
Benavidez wasn't
what?
a
But okay.
champion.
But what does Benavidez bring to the table? He doesn't have. Okay, so he's got a name. He's got a following. I get it, but he doesn't have a belt.
Hmm.
You get what I'm saying? If
Yeah.
Canelo got all four belts, fair and square, he got all four belts. If the man feels like I'm done with this division, toodles, off to the next, then that's what he should do. And if he wants to jump up to freaking cruiserweight, so be it. That's his decision. Why are you hating on the guy? You get what I'm saying? Like, what is your purpose for hating on someone who's already accomplished it? That's like, again, this is just like bringing up fighters of the past. I am a huge Mike Tyson fan. Mike Tyson, the man was an impeccable fighter. He was known for his power, for his knockout ability, for his peekaboo Cosdiamato stance. He was trained by him. He perfected that style. You know what I mean? He cemented his legacy. Win or lose, Mike Tyson was Iron Mike, and that was it. Canelo lost to the greatest defensive fighter of our generation. He bettered himself. He learned from it. He fought Triple G 2 times, regardless of how people say it's very disputable in the sense that, like, he lost the first. Nah, I didn't see that one, man. I saw that it was a draw. It was a clean draw. Second
Mm.
one, we already saw that Canelo ended up redecorating Triple G's face. You know what I mean? He tagged him. The second fight, he stood there in the pocket and he beat him down. It went tit for tat.
Can I chime in and say something, Lord?
Go on,
What
Blake.
happened?
What's going on, Imran? I just have to respectfully disagree with the Lord right here. I hear you out, but to me, the fighter of the year has to be Jake Paul.
Oh, God. Well, I can see where you're
Just
coming from with that. He's very
just think
entertaining.
about how he knocked out all of his opponents so far.
All right, so
Yeah,
you're
but
saying, so
he's
your
not really
argument is that
fighting.
Jake
He's not
Paul,
really fighting any boxers, though, man.
yeah, he's fighting MMA fighters and washed up fighters. I mean, he's not even a legitimate boxer, though, man.
Yeah, I know
How
you can't.
how how is even Jake Paul in this sense? You know what I mean?
Jake
How,
Paul is Jake Paul is honestly one of the greatest fighters of our generation to ever walk the planet. Think about how he's fighting better opponents than Mike Tyson.
so
What?
you're saying that he fought better opponents in what sense? He fought MMA fighters who are past their prime. If he's such a great fighter, I'd want to see him step into the octagon and see what happens. I could promise you Tyron Woodley would have beaten the dog shit out of him within a matter of a minute if he would have stepped into an MMA round. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's what he was saying. The last two fights didn't happen. Jake Paul, the greatest, took him out there, took him out.
Okay. Again, so that's your argument, which hey, you're entitled to it. I'm gonna prove it to you in a matter of just a minute how your argument's flawed. He fought who though? He fought washed up fighters. He's an entertainment fighter. Why hasn't he got an actual license from a state commission? Okay, go in there and step in there with a real boxer. See what
So
happens.
you're saying, I mean, before he fought Ben Askren, the community, the
Again,
UFC
another washed
community.
up MMA fighter who doesn't have a strong stand up game, dude.
Oh, but before that fight, they had hope in them. Before the fight, after the fight, excuses came. Roy, think about his last knockout of the year, vicious
But
KO,
that wasn't. But again, he
vicious.
didn't fight in a
Who
sanctioning
has
body that
knocked
was
out?
regulated
Who
by a
has
commission, though. So how does that even make it a legitimate fight? Why is even Jake Paul in
lad?
this essence,
What
though,
other
man?
fighter? Lad, what other fighter has that one punch knock?
Where's he gone, man? He's disappeared. I don't know where's he gone, but yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know what he was talking about, to be honest. He was
I'm
saying
like,
that Jake Paul.
Hey,
He
Imran.
was nah, man. Jake Paul's not. Jake Paul,
Jake
nah.
Paul's not even a
Yeah.
real boxer, man. He's
Yeah,
that's what
nah.
I mean. I respect. I'm not gonna take anything personal because this is just a debate and this is how you learn about people and common dialogue. But Jake Paul, seriously, he's not even a boxer, like a legitimate
Nah,
boxer.
nah.
No.
I'll give him knockout of the year. Like he could be a contender the way he knocked that guy out. It was a devastating knockout, but fire of the year, please. We got guys, fighter of the year, like a guy that's a guy that's not. Look, he's not even a. Who's he fighting? You
That's
know,
what I'm saying. I'm like, okay, if you're gonna go there, then we might as well throw in, I don't know, Pitbull, Isak People, Cruz when he fought what
you
you
could
call
say
it, Gervonta
prospect of the
Davis.
year.
You, you
Yeah,
you
you
get
could
what I
say
mean?
even like maybe he's a prospect coming up or something, but not. Come on, fire of the year is for established world champions.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But he's like Jake Paul. I'm like, Jake Paul is not even a real fighter, man.
I think he was. I think he was. I think he was messing around with us, to be honest.
Oh, I
But yeah,
know. And he was just wanting to egg people on to see who would get pissed off. But I mean,
yeah, yeah,
I'm not gonna get mad at somebody over the internet, man. First off, you know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah, yeah. That's
Nah.
it. But then Canelo went on to fight Avni Yildirim, then Caleb Plant, and then he stopped Caleb Plant.
I'm gonna say that with the fight with Caleb Plant, that was a real good fight, man. Caleb Plant showed that he had tenacity. He took him all 11 rounds. He had a beautiful game plan from first all the way down to about the ninth, 10th round, and he faded, man. He got knocked out by Canelo.
Yeah, yeah. That was that. But to be fair, Caleb put up a good fight. I thought he did pretty well.
Yeah, he did extremely well.
How did you see that fight?
How did I see it?
Yeah,
I saw it as a very competitive fight. I'm not gonna lie to you. I thought at first, Caleb Plant was gonna get beat up like a walking punching bag, but I underestimated the man. And a good friend of mine here in Chicago told me, you know what? Never underestimate a fighter. Give him
mm.
always a shot because the underdogs are always the ones coming up. And I respect him, man. Like honestly, I became more of a fan of his just because he went in there and he performed the way he was said he was going to perform. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. I'd have to agree. I think Caleb Plant's stock rose in that performance. He
He showed
definitely
Caleb
go on.
Plant showed a lot of heart, man. He showed a lot of heart, and he showed that he can hang in there with the best. In the past, Caleb Plant had a resume that wasn't really known. Think about it. No one really knew about him, like as far as who has he fought to earn his title. But I mean, he went in there. He hung 11 rounds with one of the best fighters of our generation right now. Got to give him that.
Yeah, yeah. I'd agree. I'd agree. Definitely did. He put in a solid performance as well. So
Yeah,
yeah, I think he does well against some of the other 168s. Him against Benavidez, interesting fight.
yeah. Again, but same thing, man. Beterbiev, I like the kid, man. He's an amazing fighter. He's tall. He's lanky. He's got speed. He's got power. No doubt, he probably would give Canelo a hard time. I just don't think he's fought anybody of a high caliber to sit there and be like, yeah, he's ready. I don't think he's personally ready. I think if he might go the distance with Canelo, I still honestly say that Canelo might beat him. And I mean, he can beat him in two ways. He can outbox him all 12 rounds, or if he goes toe to toe with Canelo, I think Canelo's gonna set some traps up, clip him, and he's gonna it's lights out, lights out.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think Benavidez is a little overrated, to be honest. I think he's good. Don't get me wrong. But he's got too many defensive frailties, and I think Canelo will catch him and knock him out.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's strong. He comes forward. He's got that typical Mexican mentality where he's straightforward pressure. He's got speed, and again, he's what 6'3", 6'4". Kid's a monster, man. He's got reach on him. He's got some real good speed. He's got some holes in his defense, though, man. You know what they say when you got some chinks in your armor. All it is just about picking one at a time, and then that's it. Once someone knows you, you're done for.
Yeah, yeah. I'd have to agree with you there. So if we look at like what's gonna happen next, before we go on to talk about the other categories like of the year and stuff. With Canelo, there's a big talk. I think there's a demand now, like there was when Canelo was, in talks to fight Triple G. Um, now there's that same kind of pressure on him to fight Beterbiev. There's fans are demanding that, and that I think that will be the next Triple G type fight for Canelo, where the demand is going to get big where Canelo's going to be urged to fight Beterbiev. Now, obviously, that fight is obviously a very tough fight. And a lot of people think Canelo gets knocked out in that fight or Canelo will lose.
He's not going to get knocked out, man. Canelo's got a freaking chin on him, man. What I could see happening is I can see a draw if Beterbiev boxes beautifully, and I can see if we're gonna give Beterbiev, if we're gonna give him an edge on anything, he can probably beat Canelo if he boxes beautifully, if he constantly controls that jab, throws that right hand, moves. I don't see him knocking out Canelo though, man. Trust me. I think Triple G's got more power than Beterbiev. To be honest with you, and Canelo ate his shots like it was nobody's business. So I see if Canelo were to go up to 175, he probably would have to come down, a little bit in weight. Like he'd have to be smart. He'd come in at 173, keep some of that speed that he has on his hands because Canelo has. I think a lot of people underrate his hand speed. The guy's fast, man. He's just got speed like blinding good speed. And I honestly think he can outbox and beat Beterbiev, man. He can go all 12 rounds and beat him if he wanted to. But if Beterbiev gets careful, becomes like, if he just becomes careless is what I meant to say. He's going to get clipped to the chin and it's lights out too. I could see that one happening.
Yeah. EK, I want to come to EK before I go to Ray. EK, who's your fighter of the year?
It's definitely Canelo, I think, because the amount of things he achieved in a single year, and like less than a year, he unified really. Plus, he got all the belts. It's pretty amazing. I guess like if people want to say like Tyson Fury because he beat Wilder, or I don't know. I don't think. I think it's Canelo, and then like there's a huge gap between anyone else.
Do you reckon? You don't think there's anyone else that deserves a mention?
No. I think there are others, but I think for me it's clearly Canelo because he did like what no one else has done in 1 year basically, which is like if he only fought 2 times a year, then like a lot of other people you could mention, but he fought like 4 times and he really achieved a lot. Really, it's like historic.
Ray, who's your fighter of the year?
I think you would struggle to pick anyone apart from Canelo.
What about Usyk?
No, I would go for Canelo, and then I would probably go for Josh Taylor for coming undisputed. And the fact that he's British as well, and the last British fighter that did that was Lennox Lewis. So they would be my top 2. Usyk would be third. Usyk, for me, Usyk he didn't have the best to start a heavyweight, mind, but he got a good win against Joshua. So for me, it's his win.
Yeah, against Joshua.
Not necessarily. I mean, what he achieved is, was fantastic, considering his 2 performances at heavyweight were below average. But for me, I don't think you can pick anyone else but Canelo.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. Stephen, who's yours?
You know what, man? First of all, what's up, everybody?
Good, man. How are you?
I might have to roll with Usyk, man. Either Usyk or Tyson. And I say that because I don't know,
Real
man. That's who I would roll with, either Usyk or Tyson, man. Tyson Fury came back, and even when Deontay kept on asking for it, he gave it to him and prevailed. And I just think that he's head and shoulders above everybody else in the game right now. Usyk you got to throw him in there as a notable mention. But those are my two.
Fair enough. Fair enough. What do you? So, Sito, coming back to you. Who did you say again? I can't remember who you said.
I said Canelo. Canelo versus Plant
Yeah.
definitely was, for me, was fighter of the year. But listening to the other gentlemen in the room, I totally forgot about him. Like Josh Taylor, yeah, he became undisputed, and definitely Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. Man, that was one of the best fights in heavyweight history.
Wait,
Come on.
sorry, Imran. Did you mean fight of the year or fighter of the year?
Fighter of the year. Fighter of the year.
I'm gonna go with Canelo.
Yes, definitely Canelo for me. Sorry, I thought you meant fight. So I got confused.
Yeah, but I am agreeing with everybody in this room. I'm like,
go on,
no,
Steven.
go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say you're gonna roll Canelo. I mean, let's see, who all did Canelo beat this year? He beat Caleb Plant. We all had him winning that fight. I mean,
Billy Joe Saunders.
It wasn't who else?
Billy Joe
Saunders,
and Yildirim and
Callum Smith.
Callum Smith.
And we all had, and everybody on here had Canelo winning all those fights. Now I gave him a little chance with Caleb Plant, but everybody had him on here. So I'm just saying it was a cakewalk for him. It was a cakewalk for him.
That's true.
But that's just his greatness because he did like 4 fights a year. No one's ever done that. Like that's why I put him.
He fought under his standard.
No, he fought the champions in his weight and he unified.
He fought the champions in his weight, but they were all everybody had Canelo, and this has been a consensus for a long time. Everybody had Canelo always had him number one at 168.
Yeah, but like he's still unified. He fought 4 times a year. I'm not saying like they have to be tough fights. Like if Canelo like underperformed or something. I'm just saying.
And you know what?
4 times. So that's why.
And you know what? He's still cheating you. He's still pulling the wool over your head because what was he doing now? He moving up to cruiserweight and he want to fight Makabu. And like Tim Bradley said, don't nobody know nothing about no Makabu. He avoiding the fights at 168 just to defend your title. Imran, great. Is that too much to ask for?
Steven, the only thing I'd say to that is like, Canelo's fighting all the champions. Other champions got to fight other champions. Like, at 175, he's gonna fight twice a year, more than 2 times a year next year. So like, if he fights Makabu and then he fights Beterbiev or Benavidez, who cares if he fights Makabu? He's gonna fight the other top guys.
The 175, I forgot about them. I totally forgot them. So, Ray, go ahead.
No, I was just going to simply say to Steven, I'm agreeing with a lot of the stuff you're saying, but I'm also going to agree with Edwin or EK about what he said too, that Canelo fought 4 times this year. And like, I don't know if you heard my argument earlier when I was talking with Imran. I was telling him, I'm like, he could have fought David Benavidez for the WBC, but what happened? David Benavidez lost it on the scales. So he went after the opportunity to go ahead and get the WBC when he fought who? Yildirim?
No, Callum Smith. He fought Callum Smith for the WBC.
Okay.
Like, there was a WBC and WBA on the line when he fought Callum Smith.
Yeah, and then he fought Billy Joe Saunders for what, the WBA?
No, for the
IBF. No,
WBO.
the IBF is the one he just won with Callum with
WBO. Billy Joe had the WBO.
I mean, yeah, he didn't exactly have a cakewalk, man. He shut down all those fighters on his own.
And you know what? People like Lara Floyd always bothered Canelo, and then like these are all slick fighters. Like Caleb Plant and Billy Joe are super slick fighters. Southpaws.
Who did y'all have as the pick to win?
Canelo.
Like I've always had Floyd to win, and I've always had Canelo to win all of his fights, except for the Beterbiev fight. if he fights Beterbiev.
I'm a huge Floyd fan, man. I've been following Floyd's career since he was in the Olympics back in the freaking day, man. You know, I mean, I grew up.
I know, but there's just some fighters you always pick, like Manny Pacquiao. I've never picked against Manny Pacquiao. Even when he fought Floyd, I thought he was going to win, even in an older age. But that was the only time I picked against Floyd, and now I'm going to pick against Canelo.
Floyd's intellect in the game of boxing, man. It's up here, man. He's the man.
His Floyd's speed never left him. Even his last fight, with
Floyd's intact.
Andre Berto was like he slaughtered, not slaughtered, but like he went through him like a butter.
No, he slaughtered him. He beat him pretty badly.
He hit him with like 10 body shots in a row.
Locked out there, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, but back to Canelo though. I'm asking the question: if you guys had him to pick, and he was a fairly comfortable pick to win all those fights, because I gave him a little chance with Caleb, but as I recall, everybody had him winning that fight easily. So I'm just saying,
Steven, I would say like with the Billy Joe and Caleb plan, those are the only two fights people were like, those people are gonna bother him. No one said they're gonna lose, but they said like because it's Canelo, he's the face of boxing. People expect him to win all his fights.
I'm just trying to figure out. So is he in the trash? Is 168? Is that a trash division or what?
No, you could say
there's division. He did what he had to do. He mopped the floor with them. And like I said, people want to keep saying that he needs to fight this person, he needs to fight that person. Well, Benavidez doesn't have a belt, man. He doesn't have anything to bring to the table. Who has he fought? Just like when they start talking about the Charlo brothers. The Charlo brothers are amazing fighters, man. I met them when I was in Texas. They were so cool. I went to their gym. They're nice people. But again, who have they fought? The I think it's Maul that's right now at 160. When he fought against Brian Castano, I'm sorry, unless you're blind, Brian Castano beat the dog shit out of his dumbass all 12 rounds, and they gave it a They gave it a draw. They gave it a draw. For the first time, Maul got exposed by some unknown fighter who nobody really cared much that comes from Argentina, and from round 1 through round 12, Maul got fucking killed, blow for blow. He had his moments, and he in the pocket, he fought beautifully, but what no excuse, man. What happened? I thought Maul was supposed to go in there and beat the crap out of him and just lay him out, no pass in the 7th round. What happened, bro? The boy got exposed. The boy got exposed by somebody that's unknown, and he's relatively smaller than Maul. Maul had all the advantages. They fought here in the United States. He had power, he had precision, he had the promotion. What happened? He didn't do it. Maul didn't step up and do anything. But again, who has Maul fought for him to sit there and be like, "Oh, I'm going to get Canelo next"? He's at 160. He needs to go to 168 to freaking go ahead and make demands. So it's like
you talking about, hey man, you talking about Jamel? Jamel's at 160.
Yeah, Jamel. Well, I don't know the name of
Jamal's at 160. Jamel's at 150.
So Maul's the one that's at 154, right?
Yeah. Right. So okay. I'm just trying to figure out.
Steven, man, they're coming at you in the comment section, man. Are you looking at it?
Yeah. What they saying?
Steven always gets it in the comment section.
Nah, but like all I'm saying is like it doesn't like Canelo's supposed to beat everyone he fights since he's the face of boxing.
Steven, make your point.
Okay, so who says so? No, I mean, point him out. Who says something? That way I can rebuttal.
So basically, let me. Steven, okay, they're just that normal stuff. Steven is a Canelo hater and stuff. That normal stuff.
It's always, you know what? At some point, man, they got to move past that. Because I'm not a Canelo hater. I'm just pointing out. I'm just making some observations. And because y'all love Canelo so much, you can't see objectively. You take it as an affront when anybody says anything against
Actually, Steve, I'm gonna be upfront with you. I'm a person. First off, I'm like you. I'm very objective, and I see where you're coming from. I like Canelo, but I'm not a fanboy of him. You know what I mean? Personally, so I'm agreeing with you, brother. The boy needs to step up and fight some other people, but to sit there and say that, I support you, bro.
I'll make you a deal. If he don't, if he goes, if he either stays at 168 and at least defends his title, or go to 175 and fight there, then I promise you, I'm gonna make everybody a deal. You won't hear any more criticism out of me about Canelo. But if
Steven,
you go,
Steven, who would you like?
Steve, I
but
think you should
if
just
you
be
go to
yourself.
cruiserweight,
No, hold on. Steve, I think
if
you
you go
should
to
just be
cruiserweight
yourself
and
because you
you
know what,
fight,
man? Personally, this is what I love about getting to know people online, man. It's like it's all about learning about other people's point of views and their objective thoughts on how they look at things. Brother, I would never call you a hater. First off, you're an American, just like I am. I'm from Chi-Town, dog. So you sound like you're a pretty cool brother. You know what I mean?
I
Personally,
appreciate it.
personally, I like the fact that when someone has criticism against a fighter or against other fighters, that's how you learn to see things from another point of view instead of another one. You get what I mean? Like, for example,
Mhm.
people always tell me, I'm a Mayweather fan, dog. Die hard. I love his style. I think the man is just an IQ genius how he fought. You know what I'm saying? He's a Midwesterner. He's from Michigan, bro. I'm gonna support my guy. People say he's
Mhm.
a chicken, that he runs. Yeah, he ran, but you want to know something? The man knew how to redecorate your face in and out when he came into when he knew how to fight. When he fought my favorite fighter, I'm half Filipino and half Puerto Rican, dog. When he fought my boy Miguel Cotto, that was to me one of the best fights I've ever seen Mayweather stay there toe to toe, and he got battered 1 through 7. He got battered a little bit, but he stood there.
He
And
had
what did
to
he
do
do?
it, man.
He demolished Miguel Cotto towards the very end. You know what I mean? It
Yeah,
went
he had
all
to do
12,
it, man.
but Floyd earned my respect, and I think amongst probably most of the Puerto Rican community here in Illinois, they learned to love
Man,
Floyd Mayweather for his intellect. You know what I mean?
yeah, I mean, but anybody, still saying the same thing, man. Y'all got to kill that noise, man. You got to kill it, man, because I
Steven,
ain't doing. Yeah.
sorry, can I just ask you a quick question? It's gonna be who would you want Canelo to defend his belt against, and who would you have in that fight winning?
Well, I mean, you know what? At this point, it don't even got to be David Benavidez. It could be any. It could be anybody. It could be anybody else. But at
But
least
Steven,
don't. Okay, just hear me out. You ask me a question, and I'm gonna answer real quick, man.
no worries. Sorry
But
about that.
what I'm saying is that at least don't make it seem like you just a free floater through boxing, and you exempt for doing doing and you could just do anything you want. I just want you to stay somewhere, get somewhere and sit down, man, and fight and fight at one weight class. That way, you know what, Canelo was handling it. If he was doing everything, you wouldn't have people questioning it. You wouldn't have people saying, well, you wouldn't have the asterisks. But uh, it just seemed like he just moving up and down, up and down. They making they making all types of consideration for him and rules and stuff like that. That's what gets you. And you know what? I said the same thing about Mayweather. Haven't I, Imran?
Yeah,
Haven't I?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I've been,
yeah.
I've been consistent, man. Listen, I've been consistent. Now, the deal is still out there. If y'all want to take me up on that deal, if he go to 175 and he fights, Beterbiev or Bilbo, Joe Smith, one of them, somebody like that, you ain't gonna hear nothing out of me. I promise you ain't gonna hear nothing.
Okay,
So
But if he,
so
Edwin says Stephen is being biased. Why does only
no, wait, wait,
Canelo
wait,
have to go by his
wait,
standards?
wait. Listen, I have something to say. Like me, I've been on Imran's channel for a while, and so has Steven. Steven has never been biased. He's always said it. He's always said what he's got to say, and he's always been fair. So the new people coming to Imran's channel thinking this might be the first time they're hearing Steven talk. They like he's not like he's always fair. So he's not a Canelo hater. He just like
Yeah,
if he sees
defo.
something, he's gonna,
Stephen's not
no, he's
biased.
not biased at all. So I've
Let
been on their
Stephen
channel.
answer that though. Let Stephen answer that because
Yeah,
that guy's asking Stephen
yeah.
directly. Said Stephen
Mhm.
is being biased. Why does Canelo have to go by his standards? Stephen.
you know what, Canelo really don't have to go by my standard, and it's apparent that my standard doesn't matter. I'm just making a recommendation. I'm just posing a different way to look at this stuff. That way, it gives us something to talk about. And EK, man, I salute you, man. EK been on here, and I salute you for coming to my defense because I understand, like, if this is your first time hearing me talk, and I'm speaking ill about your fighter, or you may deem it as me speaking ill, yeah, you're gonna get upset. But I promise you, it's not that way. It's not how it looks. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm. And to say one more thing, like I think after like a fighter beats someone he's supposed to, people like discredit the other fighter. I'm not saying Steven you're doing that, but like Billy Joe and Caleb Plant were like good fighters, and they were like proper champions. And like between Benavidez and what's it called, Caleb Plant, that would have been a 50, like 60-40 fight. Like maybe I would favor Benavidez to win that, but these are like Billy Joe is a slick fighter too. I think Canelo did beat good fighters to get unified. He didn't beat he didn't beat 4 Yildirims. He beat like champions.
Yeah, he
And
beat. Yeah. I mean, Caleb Plant, they call him sweet hands for a reason.
yeah,
I'm just saying, so he wasn't no sucker, but I'm just saying that, Canelo, it looked like, to me, I'm gonna be honest with you, it looked like Canelo was sandbagging that whole fight because see, Canelo, all he had to do was just hit that switch. When Canelo wanted to do it, when he wanted to end it, he was gonna end it. You know what I'm saying? And that's what he did. I'm just saying
and
that. Go
sorry,
ahead.
go ahead. No, you
Go
can.
ahead.
Hey, Steven,
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna tell you right now, man. I've come on and off at Imran's channel, and I think you sound like a pretty cool cat, man. I'm gonna be one of the first people to tell you. I'm coming to
Okay.
your defense as well because I can appreciate your point of view and your objectivity, just the way you look at things. So you don't have to make any special offers, anything like that. Like that you'll stop talking. I agree with you 100%. I honestly think Canelo should go to 175 and clean up that division. It'll make him look better if he fights Beterbiev, if he fights Bivol, if he fights all the big names at 175. Then you know what he can claim. See, I'm the man. I did it in 2 divisions instead of going to one. I mean, what is it to cruiserweight to sit there
Yeah.
and beat up somebody who is not even relative in the boxing world. You know what I mean? If he wants to do that afterwards, I think that makes more sense.
Yeah.
No, I think to be honest, what Reynoso, Canelo's team is doing is they're getting Canelo's body acclimated to a cruiserweight. So it's a mental pressure. If he can knock out a cruiserweight, then the guy is like Beterbiev. If he fights, they'll have that on the back of their mind, like, oh, this guy just went up to 200, and he knocked someone out, and now he's like, So like, I think it's a mental thing,
And
and
I'm
then he'll be the first Mexican to be the I don't know,
a,
five weight.
a five division world champion, and that, you
Yeah,
know what? I salute him because he's a fellow Latino,
yeah,
and I'm all about supporting
and
anybody that
you
I
know,
support anybody that's of the human race that wants to represent their country. And for
yeah,
me, being Puerto Rican and Filipino, I support my Mexican people, man. Shit, I hope he makes it, man. I hope, but personally, if I'm gonna be going against Canelo on this one, I honestly think he should go to 175, clear the goddamn division out, then claim, you know what, there's nothing here, then go up to cruiserweight and sit there and take on
yeah,
somebody like Makabu. That way he can cement his legacy as a 5 division world champion. But I
yeah,
can see it from so many points of views where people are like, well, why isn't he fighting, one of the Charlo brothers, or why isn't he fighting Benavidez? Why isn't he like stepping up? I mean, if Canelo feels that he doesn't need to fight anybody, vacate all those belts. He's undisputed. Go to 175. Do your thing there. And if you do it, cool. You know what? Then you're the man. Go up to cruiserweight and become a 5 division world champion and retire. That's what I
yeah.
honestly think he should do.
Yeah, and you know what? The only reason I don't care if he fights Makabu or any other no name, not like no name, but like lesser known fighters,
Hmm.
is because Canelo fights more than once a year. So if he fights Makabu or something, he's gonna fight a known, because he wants to make money too, right? Canelo's not just gonna be like, oh, let me not make 50 million. He's gonna he's gonna
I mean,
fight someone, he's gonna fight someone like notable like Beterbiev or maybe even Benavidez later in September or November. So like, why, if he's gonna fight more than once a year, then like let him have a fight. that like that. And he fought 4 times like last year, so like whatever. Like he's not someone like if you know if he was only gonna fight Makabu next year, then I would be like, yo, like just fight someone like the people want you to fight. But he's gonna fight more than once a year.
I honestly
Guys,
think,
let me
like I said,
bring
I'm agreeing with you, man.
let me bring Ray into it. Let's see what he has to say about what's being said. Ray, Stephen made a point, right, about Canelo fought guys that he was supposed to beat. Do you think that could affect him, you know, being fighter of the year?
Or in a nutshell, just simply because of he's you still got to beat who's in front of you, and it's a manner that he did it.
Yeah.
Although Stephen does have a point, he was never the underdog in any of those fights. He was never close to being the underdog. There's not one fight there where it was probably close to being a 50-50. That's the difference between him and Josh Taylor, where I think that was split between him and Jose Ramirez. A lot of the Americans would have probably went for Ramirez. A lot of the Brits would have went for Taylor. I think the guy with the glasses probably forgot all about Josh Taylor. No disrespect to him, but I think that's just that's just the way he's seen stateside. But in terms of
Actually, I appreciate Josh Taylor, man. I think he's an amazing fighter. To be honest with you.
Yeah. But let's be honest. Until I mentioned it, or until someone mentioned you would have forgot it. That's not.
No, he did mention it before.
I did mention him. I mentioned him earlier today. I'm like, I honestly think Josh Taylor is one of the most underlooked fighters, and the guy is.
And that's the point I was making. I think sometimes he's overlooked. But to answer Imran's question, I don't think that you should be looking at Canelo and saying you shouldn't get a fighter of the year because who was that?
I don't know.
That wasn't me, man. So
that was not me either.
Who's that, man?
I think he left after he said that. I don't know who that was.
Yeah, that I would never come on a live stream and disrespect anybody. So just letting you know that wasn't me, man.
But anyway, as I was saying, you've got to give Canelo some
100%. So
because of how many fights he had in a year, the opposition, although it wasn't the strong super middleweight division, they were all still champions. They were still world champions. They were still valid world champions. So you've got to give him credit for that, although he was favourite in all those fights.
But to that, I would say he's always going to be the favorite because he's the most famous guy in boxing.
He's not always going to be the favorite.
Yeah, he is.
He's not always
even in the Beterbiev fight.
If you put him at 175, you put him against Beterbiev. I don't think he's the favorite in that fight.
No, I think for polling, because of his popularity, that's gonna people are gonna bet just because they know Canelo and they don't know anything about Beterbiev.
That's not necessarily
this past year that just happened. I mean, people are forgetting about Gervonta Tank Davis with Usyk Pitbull Cruz. That was a great fight. Josh Taylor versus Ramirez, great fight. Again, if I'm gonna sit there and pick another fighter outside of Canelo, I'm gonna say Anthony Joshua and Usyk. Usyk came in there and he fought beautifully.
Yeah, hang on. We're on about you're on about the fight.
He put on a clinic on Anthony Joshua.
Usyk almost made AJ quit.
That's what I'm saying.
Defeated.
He put a clinic on the man, and I love AJ. I thought AJ, and I remember talking to Imran a couple weeks ago prior to this on a live stream. You can see it. I had Anthony Joshua going in there and beating Usyk because I'm like, he's got power, he's got the size, he definitely has the advantage. And I stayed quiet, man. I saw Usyk put a clinic. I mean, a clinic. What did he do? He moved on him. He tap danced. He clipped him with that left hand. I thought he was going to knock him out by the 12th round when he connected on him.
You want to know something, man? You want to know something, man? That's why I think people need to start doing a little bit more researching. Because you miss out on fighters like Usyk. I've been knowing Usyk was a killer, and I knew
he was a cruiserweight. Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, but it's a lot of guys out there that get looked over, and that but what Usyk was able to do to Anthony Joshua was nothing short of extraordinary. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my God, that was a beautiful fight, man. I'm glad I saw that fight. Trust me.
I'm saying, man, Josh Taylor, man.
Josh Taylor's an amazing fighter too. I honestly had that fight going half and half because I'm like Ramirez is definitely, American born Latino who definitely stood his ground and he earned himself there. But Josh
Taylor's done it the hard way. Josh Taylor's done it the hard way.
To be a
Look at his
dangerous
fight
fighter too.
against Prograis.
Josh
Taylor's done it the hard way. And I think
I have a question.
Recognition.
I have a question for all of the people in here. If you think that Regis Prograis and Josh Taylor fight was in America, who would you guys have that winning? Because I think that was a closer fight. Really, I think in a rematch, I think Regis
that one. He outboxed Regis Prograis a little bit more.
I think
I don't know. I have to see that fight again because I had it like.
I thought I had it a draw that one. I think it was close.
If you go
if you fight again, I think Regis would win.
Taylor makes lots of adjustments, and what I've said time and time again about Taylor is he doesn't lose more than 2 rounds in a row. Because
but like with that Regis Prograis, I thought he lost more rounds than he's ever lost before.
Again, I think Regis Prograis is a great fighter.
There's no dispute.
I think, in my opinion, I think if they fight again, I think Regis wins. In my opinion.
Edwin, I got a question for you. If you could see the highlights over again, or just if you have access to the full fight, pay attention. Anthony Joshua. What's his name? Josh Taylor showed and demonstrated boxing skill in that fight. He really did. He out-jabbed them. He out-jabbed them. That's how come he won.
Yeah. I have to watch the fight again, but I watched it twice, and I thought it was too close.
It was close. It was.
Yeah.
But Taylor had the edge, man. He had the edge.
It depends on what you like in a fight, though.
Yeah, I think
there's 5 of us on the stream. Yeah. We've all got different. It's not like football, which has got a definite. You score a goal.
Draw.
The ball goes in the net. It's a goal. Boxing subjective.
Was it a split decision, Ray?
All
hey, gentlemen, check this out.
Round,
I appreciate you all. Happy holidays. I got to get rolling.
We might see.
Have a good day. Peace.
Take it. Was that a split decision or was it a unanimous decision?
Split, I think.
I can't remember, man. I can't remember. I think it was.
I have to go back and check out. But just watching the fight, I think like I'll be honest. I thought geography. I think Josh fought better because he was fighting in his backyard a little bit, but like I think who's he fighting? Who's Josh's next fight again?
Jack Catterall.
When is it?
February.
Josh is taller than Terrence Crawford.
Yeah,
I saw them together, and Josh is like way taller. Not way taller, but he's taller than. I was surprised.
Stephen, we were talking about Josh Taylor and Regis Prograis. What did you think about that fight?
Man, that was a close fight, man. I think if that fight would have happened in America, I think Regis Prograis would have been the victor of that fight. But it was huh?
I said same here. I agree with you.
Yeah, but it was a razor thin fight, man. They both solid fighters, and I see how I can see how they gave it to Josh Taylor, man, because it was so close, man. That was a real competitive fight, man. So I don't think it was a robbery. That's what you asked me. It wasn't a robbery at all.
No, not a robbery. I think we were just saying that it was close. Some people, Ray said that he said Taylor won. Cito said that he thinks that Taylor won. I think EK thought. I don't know what EK thought. I thought it was a draw. And you think what? Who do you think won? Do you think it was a draw? Who did you have winning?
I think it was like a draw, man. I think it was more like a draw, man. That was a real close fight. It was a draw, man. That was one hell of a fight.
I'd say I'd watch it twice, like months apart, and I still had. I was slightly edging Regis Prograis, but like I had no problem with it going to a draw or Josh Taylor. But I'm saying if they fought again, I think Regis would win, in my opinion.
Yeah, and you know what? And I'm glad you said that, because if you were to ask Regis Prograis, I don't even think he would say it was a robbery. I think he's fine with the decision too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You never really hear Regis Prograis saying, "Oh, I got cheated, this, that, the third." So I'm just making a point that everything ain't a robbery. Not saying that y'all saying it, but Regis Prograis was even fine with that decision.
Yeah, and I think like
who wins the rematch, Steven?
Who wins the rematch?
Yeah.
Man, I just think Regis Prograis. I think he's a straight dog, man. That dude is a straight dog. You know, the way he fight, man, the way he fights with so much tenacity, and he's so ferocious. I'm gonna have to go with Regis Prograis in a decision. I mean, in a rematch.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna have to.
And you know,
Ray?
Regis Prograis was calling out Tank, and I think he will outbox Tank. Like he closed his eyes. I think. I just think he's so good. Regis
Yeah.
Prograis.
Ray, what do you think?
Well, I think Josh Taylor would get it in a rematch. I think Josh Taylor would get it. Like I said, he makes a lot of adjustments. He reads people really well. He can be aggressive. He's a good counter puncher. He's strong. You know, he positions his feet really well to land his jab, land his shots. He's uppercuts, and he did that against Ramirez. You know, I think again, it's what I'm saying. I don't want to sound as though I'm overly defending him, because then people can say I was biased, but it seems to me that every time a Brit gets a win on an American, it's always like, oh well, if there was a rematch, well, the American will win. But we're not always too sure. You know, he fought 2 great fights, he had 2 great wins. Give him the credit he deserves, and we'll move on.
Yeah.
I don't think they will rematch, to be honest. I don't think there will be a rematch.
Well, I think Prograis is going to fight Tyrone McKenna, isn't he?
Yeah.
On the Pro Bellum card, and I think when Josh Taylor moves up, the belts will be disbanded. But that division's hot and up. You've got Regis Prograis, who's a top talent. Ramirez is still going to want a bit. You've got Gary Russell's brother coming through.
I mean, I think, man, I think at 140, I think they got a for real. You know how Boots is lurking in the shadows and he's lurking in the bushes, in the fog. At 147, I think Gary Anton Russell, he's lurking in the bushes in the fog.
Well, Stephen, Boots Ennis isn't lurking in the bushes. He's standing on the driveway. He's knocking on the front door.
Right.
He's knocking on the front door because Boots Ennis really, he's in with a good shout of beating anyone in the top 3. In fact, you would put him in the top 3 at welterweight.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got Barrios and Thurman fight in is that February?
Yeah, no, it's January.
Okay, so next month, pay-per-view, I think.
Yeah.
Boots Ennis beats those 2.
Yeah, without question. Without question.
No,
really.
For me, the only 2 people above him would be Spence and Crawford, and he's in with a good chance of beating them.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I definitely agree with you there, Ray, to be honest with you. So Carl says, I think people underestimate Josh Taylor. Yeah, I'd have to agree. I think they do. I think they do, to be honest. I think it's because of that division not being a glamorous division, Ray.
But there's a lot of serious dons in that division, though.
Yeah, I know.
It's probably not as glamorized as a lightweight division and the welterweight division.
And I'll be honest, I think, other than the UK, like the average boxing fan doesn't know too much about Josh Taylor.
He's not really that well known in the UK, to be honest.
So that's like some people aren't marketable like that, and then like they don't get the recognition they should, even though he's on the he's on everyone's pound for pound list. But even then, like people won't like, they don't honestly, like, if you go like ask like even an avid, I wouldn't say avid, like if you ask like a boxing fan who actually watches boxing a few times a year, like, hey, when's Josh Taylor's next fight? Not many people will know. And,
he's not massively known in the UK. I mean, he wasn't even.
I thought he would be. I thought he would be really
British Sports Personality of the Year, which I thought was shocking, but never mind.
You know what, Ray? He wasn't even. Did you see the poster that Sky Sports put on? They had Eubank Jr. at the front and Josh Taylor behind him.
Oh yeah.
Did you see that?
Savannah Marshall, is that the one with Savannah Marshall on?
Yeah. Savannah Marshall was at the back as well. So basically, Eubank Jr. was the poster boy and Josh Taylor was behind him.
Yeah, it's because Eubank is more famous than him. That's all. That
Yeah,
means.
yeah.
It
We've
doesn't mean he's a
always,
better fighter.
as soon as Boxer was announced on Sky, it was pretty obvious that
Honestly,
Eubank was going to be the main sort of person for that.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
but you
say
know
like
what,
people are
Ray? You
probably
should have
more
seen the
interested in
comments.
Chavez Jr.
You should have seen the
what he's
comments in
gonna
the
do
comment
next.
section. It was like disgraceful. Josh Taylor undisputed, and he's buying Eubank. This, that. People were going mad in the comment section, and I was like, I was just like, wow. The reaction, literally, no one was talking about the poster, the picture. They were just talking about Josh Taylor not being at the front of the pile.
Yeah, I mean, I can see his point, but at the end of the day, Eubank's a bigger name than Josh Taylor.
Yeah, he's probably more marketable because of his dad.
I don't like that, but it is
it is what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, that was but yeah, I think Josh Taylor doesn't. I don't think Josh Taylor gets the credit. I'd have to agree with Carl there that I don't think he really gets the credit that he deserves. Really, he should be getting more recognition. But I don't know whether he'll ever get that. To be honest, he might never get that. James Deere said, "I've never heard of." He goes, "I've never heard of Josh Taylor until Brits brought his name up. Never heard of Fury until Wilder's name. Two guys aren't American household names." Wow.
No, I think people in America didn't know who Wilder was until he fought.
I think he's on about Fury, mate.
Yeah, Fury was way famous around the world than Wilder before.
Well, yeah, I would say Fury. I mean, I don't live in America, so it's difficult for me to say, but I'd be surprised if Fury wasn't a household name in America.
No, Fury wasn't a household name, but nor was Wilder. And I would say that, in America, the problem is there's so many sports, like basketball is super famous, American football is super famous, baseball is famous, and boxing gets diluted into it. So, like, the household name even in America, I would say, for boxing is Canelo, Floyd, and all these type of, not Wilder. But now Wilder is, like, he's super famous now. But not like, when they first fight, it was like Wilder, they needed each other, I think, to be famous.
Yo, Ray, John Love is asking you, ask Ray on his thoughts about Sky Sports saying Adam Azim will be the next superstar.
Yeah, Sky Sports are big on those brothers, aren't they? Hassan and Adam.
Yeah.
It's
I don't know, to be honest. I haven't seen a lot of them.
It's a bit early to judge them now. They look good. They look promising. I wouldn't say they're going to be superstars. I'm loath to judge, as you know, Imran. I'm loath to judge people until I've had at least 10 or more pro fights. Looks so good so far, but I wouldn't.
What weight class are they in? What weight class is Adam Azim in?
Sorry?
What weight class are these guys in?
Lightweight, I think.
One's
Wow. So like Ryan Garcia
might even be super featherweight or something.
Oh, sure.
For one of them. And I think Hassan's a bit bigger.
Yeah.
Your guys, I'm gonna have to head out. I hope you all have a great weekend. Peace.
You too. Take care. Take care.
See you.
Okay.
All right, nice talking to you. Peace.
John, who was it that says? Someone says. Josh Taylor will get recognition. Dundada says Josh Taylor will get recognition if he beats Crawford. What do you think about that, Ray? Will he get credit if he beats Crawford?
If he was to beat Crawford, the whole not only the whole boxing world, but I think casual fans will start to take notice of him as well. He would put everybody on notice if he was to beat Crawford.
Do you see him beating Crawford?
In time, yeah. It's about timing with that fight. I don't. If he was to make that for the capital fight, I would say no. But if he was to do what I said last time when I was on, have a couple of fights at welterweight, get acclimatized to the weight, and then take him on, say, 2023, he's got a very good chance. It's about timing, and you've got to think Crawford will be edging on at 36 then. She's got a very good chance of doing a number on him.
Yeah. Because Crawford's getting older, isn't he? So he might be able to get him, like
those reflexes, and it's all the little things like Crawford's probably he's most effective when he's boxing out that southpaw stance. But when he's in orthodox, he can be vulnerable. He gets clipped, and that's when he had the issues with Kavliauskas, didn't he?
Yeah.
I think something like Josh Taylor be nice, big and strong. He's already a big lad, Josh Taylor. A couple of years at welterweight, I think he'd be a problem for anyone.
Yeah. Do you think Josh Taylor would beat Spence at
Not right now, no. Not right now. Not right now.
Yeah.
But it depends how he grows into weight. I mean, it's going to be a tough division when he does step up because Ortiz is a problem for him. Ennis is going to be a problem for him. So yeah, I mean, Ennis and Ortiz, you would have to favour them definitely at the moment. But Josh Taylor's got all the skill. He's got all the skill, and when you're that skilled, even when you move up, I've always said there's three things you've got to look for when a fighter moves up. If they can carry the power, if they're superbly skilled, and the physical stature. Josh Taylor, perhaps, he hasn't got that type of power. He never did, but he's got the stature and he's definitely got the skill. So I'm quite confident he can handle himself at that weight.
Yeah,
man. Yeah.
What?
Josh Taylor, man, that dude got hella skills, man. He got the skills to pay the bills, man. That's what I said, man. You really can't turn your nose up at Josh Taylor, man. That dude for real.
Yep.
It's a lot of, but I'm just real interested, man. I'm real optimistic about 2022 to see what the boxing gods is gonna give us. I think emerging stars are gonna be, of course, your Virgil Ortiz. I think we're gonna see some significant things from him. I think we're gonna see some significant things from Boots, of course. In Gary Antoine Russell, I think we got some good things. Montana Love, you know what I'm saying? Conor Benn. Man, it's gonna be beautiful, man.
Ray don't agree with you about Conor Benn though.
Man, why y'all always taking on Conor, man? I'm telling you, man, Conor with the business, dude.
No, Conor and business just don't go in the same sentence together.
Gentlemen, can I interrupt and just say this? I hear everything you guys are saying. I agree with everything you guys are saying as well. I just want to speak it clear to these white devils that know that Fury cheated. He had to. This is what it takes to bring down a king like Wilder. We all know the first fight, Fury was on the Adderall. The second fight, we already know what happened. These white devils know the truth. Wilder got taken down by these devils.
Yo, man, what's this guy talking about, man?
What's going on, man?
I don't know. What's he talking? I don't know. Like, we always get somebody that comes on and talks about like.
I think, Imran, as soon as you get someone in the start coming out with rubbish in the first sentence, just get them off. Just get them off.
Yeah, that's what I'm. Yeah, that's what I was like. I thought he was gonna come out with something positive, but then he just comes out.
Anyway, going back to the point about Conor Benn, I just don't see what you see in him. I really don't. This guy's spoon-fed opponents.
Well,
what do you bring to the table?
No, I disagree, right? I don't think he's. I mean, you see what he did with to Chris Algieri, man. I'm telling you, man.
Come on, Stephen. That guy was 37 years old. He had been retired already. He was way past his best. If he did have, I mean, at some point he was okay, but he had come to be paid. He's a nutritionist now. He's a nutritionist for opponents. If Conor Benn's got anything about him, we keep talking about people like David Avanesian. You should be beating people like David Avanesian if you've got ambitions of winning a world title.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good start. David Avanesian, that's a good start. But Conor Benn, he's he's so strong and he's so he's so I think he's so deadly that a lot of guys don't want to see him. Like, what I'm saying, when he fought Adrian Granados, he did a lot of running, and kind of you really didn't get to see Conor Benn do what he had to do because of the sense of running. But
Stephen, I actually thought we got to see Conor's level in that fight, in the sense that when you get a boxer that boxes and moves, that's what Conor Benn's going to look like.
Well, I mean, do you think?
Go on. What are you saying, Stephen?
No, I said, do y'all think he look bad? I mean, I'm trying to figure out.
He looked really bad, man. He looked terrible against Granados. Ray, what do you think?
No, I didn't think he was good at all. I mean, I've never rated him. For me, I think somebody like Kavliauskas would cause him a lot of problems. In fact, I think Kavliauskas would stop Conor Benn.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, man.
I really do.
That'd be a horrible fight. Kavliauskas almost stopped Virgil Ortiz.
Yeah, I mean, he wobbled Crawford. He caused Ortiz problems. I think the thing with Conor Benn is he should look spectacular against people that he should actually be looking spectacular against. So if you take away all the prospects at welterweight, Ortiz, Ennis, they will be doing those jobs and some they will be doing better jobs on his opponents. Apart from the fact that he's a bit like Chris Eubank Jr., he's fit, he's physically strong, but that's it. That all he takes you so far. You've got to remember, Stephen, he's in our country, we're very big on fighters climbing the ladder properly and not missing anything. That's unless you're Amir Khan, unless you're that skilled, you can't get away with it. Unless you're an Olympian and you're that skilled. So what Conor Benn's effectively done is he's bypassed English, he's bypassed the British, these are all belts, by the way. He's bypassed the Commonwealth, and he's bypassing the European. It's like he's turned pro and he's going straight to world level. That for me doesn't tell me how good he is. That sells alarm bells. That they know if they put him in with somebody decent from British level, there's a good chance of him slipping up, which is why I don't face any of the good British welterweights.
So what's it going to take for him to prove himself?
Well, now that he's at this supposed level, he needs to be fighting somebody like an Avanesian, Kavliauskas, even somebody like a Morris Hooker.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what he can do there. Mikey Garcia lost. Okay, so he lost to Sando Martin, didn't he? Put him in with him.
Yeah.
I've named 3-4 guys there.
Mm-hmm. Was that fight
even that kid Blair Cobbs? Is it Blair Cobbs? Is that his name?
Yeah.
One that thinks he's Ric Flair.
Yeah.
Put him in with him. Yeah. So they're 4-5 kids that I've named there, Stephen. Put him in with them.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying though, right? I'm putting them, you know what I'm saying? As far as that class, I think he's in that class and he's par with some of those guys of talent. I think you're right. We do need to see him against Mean Machine. And we do need to see him against some of these other Avanesians. Maybe that'll be a good fight, a good barometer to test him at is Avanesian. Okay, but if he beats Evanesian and if he stops, which I think he probably will stop Evanesian, I think it's gonna be time for us to start giving him a little bit more respect and a little bit more consideration.
So can you see him winning the world title in Stephen?
I don't think it's not out of the realm of possibility. And I'm not the only one that thinks this. A lot of people over here, man, like Conor Benn. We like what we see in Conor Benn. Now, I get what you're saying. Him coming from a good lineage of boxing, his pops and everything. It might seem like he's skipping past everybody, and you might be right. But I think he's eager to make his own legacy. Now Chris Eubanks, I like him too, but I think Conor Benn is really, really talented, man.
I think the Americans seem to rate Conor Benn more than some of the British fans do for some reason. Maybe because we see that what's going on and the fact that he's ducking and dodging some fights.
Yeah, he's not going the traditional route.
He is, Ray. He's ducking, man. He's ducking. He's not fighting Avanesi, and that's the next fight.
Yeah,
that he should be taking.
And I
Forget
find it
all
a
the
bit strange.
Sandor
I find it a
Martins and
bit
that.
strange.
Avanesian is the guy next.
I find it a bit strange that Michael Mickinson has got the cojones to fight Virgil Ortiz. Yeah, Conor Benn doesn't
I was
want
having
any
an
of that.
argument, Ray, with somebody about that. I was saying, well, Michael Mickinson has the bottle and the cojones to go fight Virgil Ortiz, but Conor Benn does. And then the one guy was arguing, why does Conor Benn have to fight Virgil Ortiz? Why does he have to fight Ennis? You know what? He's being built up properly. That's how a fighter should be built up. So why does he have to fight those guys? Conor Benn's being built up right. I'm like, well, fight Avanesian then. Avanesian's not even a top 10 welterweight. There's probably guys in the top 10. Like Stanionis is probably better than Avanesian, you know? So the point I'm trying to make is if you're not ready to fight Avanesian, right, who's like might be a top 12, top 11 welterweight, then you talking about fighting for a world title is nonsense, right?
Exactly.
Eddie Hearn said Conor Benn will fight for a world title in 2022.
You won't. You won't. Or you will because of the money put up and you'll get hammered. Put it this way, like I've said before, if you can't beat Avanesian convincingly, then you're not going to be winning the world title. Avanesian's gatekeeper at welterweight. If you can't get through him, you're not going to win the world title. It's just pointless.
But what happens if he stops Avanesian in solid fashion? What happens?
That's what I'm saying, Stephen. If he does that, you've got an argument to say, okay, he's serious, and then I end up apologizing. But I can't see it happening, Stephen. I'm very confident that Avanesian would do a number on Conor Benn.
Yeah, I can't see him stopping Avanesian, man. That's a tough fight. If he stops Avanesian, then I'm with Ray. And then we have to jump on the bandwagon that, whoa, this kid might actually be.
Yeah, but I can't see him with the physical strength, the intelligent pressure, the way Avanesian cuts off the ring. Avanesian's he's not a busy fighter. He doesn't have a lot of volume, but he's very, very accurate. And his punches are very hurtful. I just can't see Benn coping with that. People say, oh yeah, he's improved since a pay-on fight, but he's inconsistent with his jab. You need a very good jab to keep somebody like Avanesian off. And Conor Benn just picks and chooses which fights he wants to throw it. And he's got poor footwork as well. So when somebody's cutting off the ring, you need very good footwork to sort of circumnavigate them. Now, Conor Benn, how's he going to do that? The only way he's going to do that is going into a war and having a phone booth fight with Avanesian, but there's only going to be one winner because out of the two of them, Avanesian's a better fighter and a better operator in the inside.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. I mean, Conor Benn he's a little green.
He's very raw.
Yeah, he's a little green, but I just like his approach to that dude is fearless, man. He's fearless and he's strong. He's real strong, dude. And I see a lot of upside in him. But like you said,
he's strong, but he's also quite a small welterweight as well. I don't think people have noticed that. He's not a physically big.
No, he's not a big welterweight, Ray.
No, sorry.
Yeah, he's not a big welterweight at all.
He's not. So when you look at the other welterweights, I mean, Ortiz is quite big. Ennis is really big. Spence is big. Crawford's grown into the welterweight division, I feel. Mikey Garcia's grown into the welterweight division. So as well as having a talent advantage over Benn, there's a size advantage over Benn as well.
Yeah, I like to see him, man. I like to see him against, Avanesian. And then if he passes that test, I like to see him against, cross the pond and see him get it on with Mikey. See what he can do with Mikey. But I think he stops Mikey.
Wow. You think he stops Mikey Garcia?
Wow. Steven,
Steven, man.
That's
Oh,
that's
oh,
mad,
okay,
man.
okay, okay. I went a little overboard. Not stop him, but I think he beats Mikey. Not stops him though.
I
Mikey
don't
just
know, man. That's a big
off
shout.
the bump.
That's a big
Cruz
shout.
got
Mikey's got a lot of experience, you know.
Yeah. He's a great fighter.
man. You know what though, man, and this is maybe a little bit off the subject. It almost seems like Mikey is not really interested in boxing anymore because he's so intelligent, he's so smart, and he's so his business acumen is so off the Richter scale. I think he's a better businessman. I think he's focusing on business as opposed to boxing. It just because when Mikey was on at 140, Mikey was man that dude was the top dog at 140. Now he really was. But it almost seems like Mikey just he don't care no more.
I think it's
I
probably
don't
because
know.
the problem with some fighters is if you have a lot of time out the ring, you have something like 2 years out, 2.5 years out the ring, like he did. You have a lot of distractions, don't you? So, and he kept himself going financially, as he's saying. Then he's probably thinking, well, it's not life and death anymore. You know, it's just something I do to make some money. A bit like
Yeah.
what Danny Garcia's doing with his property portfolio. Danny Garcia's property portfolio's making him serious money. So then
Mhm.
boxing becomes a little side hustle. That
Mm-hmm.
you lose your hunger, and in boxing you need that hunger all the time
Yeah.
because it's such a dangerous sport. As soon as you lose that hunger, you need to get out of the game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Guys, I wanna ask you a question, Ray. This is to you. I know you're gonna like this subject. Devonte Davis v Lomachenko. That's a topic. That's a topic. Now I
If
know the reason why I brought this up because I know we're gonna have people with different opinions here.
yeah, yeah.
Ray, go at it. What are
That
you thinking
if that
about?
fight happens next year, that could well be fight of the year.
Yeah.
Because it's got everything from skills, power, speed, ring IQ.
Mm,
Um, it's a real fight for the purists, not for the casual fans. But
mm,
it'd be an absolute classic. I'm gonna have to go for Lomachenko. I'm gonna go for
mm.
Lomachenko. I think that
Ray,
yeah.
is Javante just a banger or is he more than that?
Well, I was gonna explain. I think the Cruz fight showed
Mm,
pretty much how limited Tank is, in that he perhaps isn't as skilled is what people are making out. Unless he gets you out of there,
mm,
Tank's gonna have trouble. He 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 should have broke Cruz down in a lot better fashion than he did. And I'm not buying this. Well, he damaged his hand in round six, from round six onwards or whatever. Clearly he did, but that's no that's not an excuse. The guy walked forward, and I just thought that Tank was pretty much running out of ideas. Against Lomachenko, he's not going to be able. He can't do that. Lomachenko isn't going to be in one place at one time. Lomachenko's got the footwork to be coming at him and using lateral movement, be on the side, be on his angles, but also landing clean shots and being out of range again. That's the problem Tank's going to have. So Tank hasn't fought anyone like that before. So he's not going to get him out of there. So what's he going to do? Cruz is a good fighter, but Cruz's style was tailor made for Tank.
mm,
It was tailor made for Tank, and he put it on him. Tank got touched a lot in that fight.
mm,
It got to round 10, and I
mm,
thought, I've never seen Tank. I've seen him outboxed. I've seen him outboxed against Cruz, and at Port, he was getting outboxed against Barrios, but he was getting hit clean and often. And I was thinking, you know, if he's up against a sharpshooter, someone who's an accurate puncher, I'm not saying he's going to get stopped, no, but this is gonna look good for him. So
Okay.
I can't see him beating Lomachenko.
Okay.
Ray, James Deer's got a point. I want to put this to you because James Deer's question to you. He goes, say what? Poor performance isn't an excuse because of a broken hand. Wow. So, Steve, Ray, do you want to get back
Yeah,
to
well,
James Deere because I think he
Lomachenko's
was.
been in fights where he's damaged his shoulder. He still won
Yeah.
fights convincingly. We've had fighters that have broken jaws, won fights convincingly.
Yeah.
Joe Calzaghe's been in fights where he's broke his hand and still won convincingly.
Mm.
You know, we're expecting a lot more
Uh,
from Tank. Tank's supposed to be the next big thing. He's supposed to
Yeah,
be
I agree.
the PBC golden boy. So yeah, James Deere, I was expecting a lot more. That was a laboured victory for me. Yes,
Yeah,
Isaac
it was.
Cruz was a very tough opponent, but that style was made for Tank.
But Ray, when
Well,
you say very tough opponent, no one was saying that before the fight. Everyone was saying it was a cherry pick.
Well, that was everyone else.
I know Cruz
I've
turned
seen
out
him,
to
and
be
I know
tougher.
Isaac. Well, that was everybody else. I can't speak for everybody else. I can only speak for myself. I knew he was tough because I've seen him before. I think
But the
that might
thing
be.
is, if Tank, like you said, is the next superstar, then he should be getting Cruz out of there.
That's what I just said, though.
okay.
That's
Yeah,
what I just said, and he didn't, and it was a laboured performance, and he got himself touched as well.
yeah, he did. He got hit a lot in that fight.
He did, and you got to think Lomachenko's sharper offensively than Isaac Cruz. So what Isaac Cruz going to do? So I mean, what's Lomachenko going to do? Sorry.
Well, see, all right. So, Ray be on it, boy. I tell you what, if you ever want to hear some boxing knowledge and some boxing some boxing history, don't ever count Ray out because Ray be on it. But I got a little slight disagree with you slightly because I know how Imran feel about it, but I seem to be the different. I seem to think different. Here's how I see it, man. I think Tank he's underrated when it comes to people counting him out skill wise. He's more than a slugger. He's more than just a puncher. That dude, he can box too, man. He can box. He can box because he comes up under Mayweather, and he has good coaching and everything. So Tank could really box, and I think he's gonna nullify. Cause see, Lomachenko, he doesn't do well with if Lomachenko respects you too much, he's gonna be kind of timid, and I know he's gonna be timid and gun shy when he fight Tank. Because
The only thing I would say, Stephen, and I don't want to interrupt you, but I'm gonna have to say it, is
go ahead.
We're still talking about somebody who was still comfortably getting outboxed by Leo Santa Cruz.
Yeah.
But Leo Santa Cruz is a dog, though. Leo Santa Cruz, he throw punches 550,000 times per second. So that dude, man, and he got a solid chin. So
he does, but he comes forward. This is the thing. He's a volume puncher. He comes forward. In fact, I think Leo boxed better in his second fight with Carl Frampton than what he did against Gervonta Davis, and he still was outboxing Gervonta Davis.
Yeah,
he's behind the jab in a Frampton fight. Now he comes forward, so for me, it's like okay, he comes forward. We're there. He's a top quality fighter, but Tank, being the puncher that everyone says he is, he should have saw those openings. He should have worked those openings and got them out sooner. Lomachenko's not going to provide those openings, not so easily.
Hey, Stephen, I see that fight with Tank and Loma in America. I see that as a huge pay-per-view event because now, as you know, Tank is quite big in America now, especially amongst the African-American community. Now that he has a dancing partner, I wouldn't be surprised if that fight could do 500,000 pay-per-view buys.
But Lily Penny, who wins?
Sorry?
Who wins?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, Ray, I'm going to slightly agree with Stephen on this. I think sometimes when Loma faces someone who's bigger than him and someone who has power, he gets a little timid. Now, I do give him credit. He did come back from that Teo fight in the second half of the fight. I actually thought that he dominated the second half of that fight where he.
Lil Penny, just a quick one.
Yep.
Is Devonte bigger than Loma?
No.
Yeah. I think so.
He's not.
Really? In
Once
terms of, you know, right?
not in terms of height.
Because Loma is really 130 fighter, 130 pounder fighter.
Well, so's Tank.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Loma's
so is
tall.
Tank.
Tank's not very tall. I think
Yeah,
Tank's
but
5'5".
Tank's big. He's built like,
But
he's big in the sense that like stature wise, he's kind of thick, but not height wise, he's kind of short.
Like, isn't Tank
he's strong.
Wasn't Tank looking to fight Keith Thurman at one point, or a rumor anyway? Whereas Loma's not even close to, like, he doesn't even want to go to 140.
Well, yeah, but that's like saying Canelo's bigger than Golovkin because Canelo wants to go to cruiserweight and Golovkin doesn't want to go to 68.
Yeah.
But Stephen, can I just ask a quick question? Because you're in America, will that fight Loma versus Tank in Las Vegas, will that do over or under 500,000 pay-per-view buys?
It'll do over 500,000.
Yeah, I reckon so.
The only thing, the only thing that's gonna kind of hold that back from, being it's not gonna be like if he was to fight, Garcia or somebody like that. But because Loma don't really have a big name over here like that. Only hardcore boxing fans know who Loma is. But I can ask my wife right here if she know who's if she know who well, she might know because of me. But if you ask the average person who Lomachenko is over here in America, they ain't gonna know. So that might hold it back. But just the fact that they'll build a fight like that up, they'll promote it and they'll build it up solid to where it's gonna build the anticipation and get those fights because Tank's already a household name over here almost.
Yeah, because Steven,
but didn't his last pay-per-view flop though, Ray?
Say that again.
His last pay-per-view flopped against Cruz, didn't
it? Tanks.
Yeah.
From my understanding, yeah. But obviously Lomachenko's a completely different kettle of fish.
And plus, Cruz was a late replacement.
Yeah.
But you know what they're doing, Ray? Let's be honest with Devonte Davis. They're picking and choosing his fights, and they're fighting guys. Like their next fight is gonna, like, you know what? Someone said this. Regis Prograis said this. Devonte calls out me. He calls out Josh Taylor. He calls out Ryan Garcia. He calls out Teofimo. He calls out Devin Haney, but then ends up fighting Ronda Romero. It's true. It's true. Like Ray, we can see it. We can see what they're doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
I agree too, man. It's trash what they doing, man. They need to. Yeah, they if Tank if he's serious about his career and he want to be legitimized, he need to leave Floyd and them because they killing his career because.
Yeah, that's the problem, Stephen. That is the problem. He's not in terms of talent, but in terms of the way he's been marketing. I don't see the difference between him and Conor Benn. I really don't. Obviously, talent-wise, they're miles apart, but marketing, they've been marketing in the right direction, and it's not good for their careers.
For Tank to sell out stadiums in Baltimore and also in Atlanta, and Tank's not even from Atlanta, that speaks volume and how relevant of a fighter that he is in America. I think he's on the verge of becoming a superstar. He just needs a dancing partner, i.e. Lomachenko. Lomachenko is good enough. He's been on the pound-for-pound list for God knows how long, like for 5 years now. If he fights Loma, and as what Stephen was saying, if they market it well, which Mayweather promotions are really good at doing, I think it does. I reckon that fight could do over 500,000 pay-per-view buys.
Well, no one's doubting how well it will do. I think what we're trying to do is break down the actual fight itself, because really, the argument Steven's putting is that Tank wins this. The argument I'm putting is that Lomachenko wins this. I think that's a debate. I agree with you, Little Penny. I think it's a really immortable fight, and I think that's what I said before you jumped on. This would be one of my fights of the year. And if I was to go across the sexes, it'd be alongside Clarissa Shields and Savannah Marshall. Because I think that'll be a terrific fight when that fight takes place next year.
Ray, I reckon the Serrano Katie Taylor fight is even bigger than the Shields.
It won't be a better fight though. It might be bigger, but it might not be a better. It won't be a better fight. It won't be a better fight. That's going to be really like old school Lightning versus Thunder. Clarissa Shields versus Savannah Marshall. And to be fair, I still think that might be quite a big fight, because Savannah's got a huge following in England now that she's on Sky TV. And correct me if I'm wrong, but Clarissa Shields is signed also to have her fights on at Sky Sports. They're going to be fighting on the same card next year. So don't underestimate how big that. I think that fight could be just as big as Taylor and Serrano.
Yeah, it's just that Katie Taylor has a whole country behind her. She's actually a household name. Everyone knows her, right? And Serrano is an accomplished fighter. So it's like two A-sides. You know what I mean?
Well, it depends because that fight will probably take place in New York, I imagine. Because isn't Serrano from Brooklyn?
Yes.
And New York's going to have access to quite a big Irish following. So imagine that fight takes place in New York. But we don't really know where Shields and Savannah Marshall's going to take place. If that takes place in UK, that's going to be a huge fight, I think. I can see that being...
Right, Savannah Marshall reminds me of Margarito. Like, she's strong. She always punches, like, straightforward. Kind of like Leo.
Okay, yeah. Well, the only thing I would say to that is she hits a lot harder than what Margarito did, pound for pound. Because Margarito wasn't really a puncher. He just threw a lot of punches. And he overwhelmed. He's a puncher. He's a volume puncher. Savannah Marshall's probably pound for pound.
Margarito knocked out Miguel Cotto when he was a killer and he was undefeated.
Margarito
was in his hands.
Yeah.
Nah, that's not proven. That was on the Shane Mosley fight.
Nah, that was he tried to do it with Shane Mosley.
Yeah, he was doing it with Shane Mosley, but it's very likely he did it in the Cotto fight on a balance of probabilities.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you now,
Margarito was
a very different fighter to Margarito.
Because Ray, the reason why I say this is because Savannah Marshall's opponents, they're not as good as Margarito when he was coming up. You know what I mean?
But that's women's boxing, though. It's not her fault.
Yeah, but I do like that fight, Ray. I'm gonna slightly favor Shields on that because I think Clarissa Shields got it's got good boxing IQ, and I think even at that weight, I think Clarissa will probably be even better. Like sometimes when she keeps going down in weight, she loses her power. Whereas at 160, I think which that fight will be, was it 160 or 168? I can't remember.
168.
168, yeah, she'll be even better. She'll be really comfortable in that weight class.
Yeah, I think she could end up dancing, in Savannah Marshall, running around the ring trying to catch her.
Yeah,
it could happen in that fight.
She'll have to do what Margarito did to Miguel Cotto, like just bulldozer. Like, you know what I mean? Don't worry about what's coming at you. Just keep, because Savannah Marshall is quite tough. You know what I mean?
Yeah, she is very tough, but I don't know. My criticism of Savannah Marshall has been her footwork, and if you're going to cut off the ring, you're gonna. That's a skill in itself, and I'm not too sure how good she is at cutting off the ring because she's never had to do it before.
Yeah,
she just had to walk forward, hit somebody, and that's it. They've got still up no power. Obviously, the better opponents, the better the chin. And what people are saying is, Clarissa Shields won't be able to stand up to her power. Yeah, but Clarissa Shields isn't going to stand there to be hit.
Yeah, because Clarissa Shields is not the strongest woman out there. You know what I mean?
But she's got good feet, though.
Sorry?
She's got good feet.
Yeah.
So she's not a punch bag. She's not a statue, is she? She's not going to... Savannah Marshall's mainly fought statues, let's be honest.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's a really interesting fight, and it's one which sometimes you wake up and I think, oh, if Clarissa Shields catches, if she gets caught by Savannah Marshall, it's game over. But then you look skill wise, and Clarissa Shields' skill set far superior to Marshall's, and it's fascinating.
Yeah, she got good skill set.
Yeah, but there's loads of good fights. I mean, I'm looking forward to Castano Charlo Part 2. I think that's going to be a great fight. Let's see what Charlo.
Who's winning?
Sorry,
Who's gonna win that fight?
I think it depends what adjustments Charlo's made, because Castano can only really fight one way. Castano, if you look at all his fights, he's fought the same way. He just comes forward, throws a lot of punches. Now, Charlo, he should have made those adjustments during the fight. Okay, he didn't. So he's got to spend his camp doing that. If he can pop out on that jab, push him back, he's got a very good chance. Because when he was winning the rounds, that's what he was doing. If he doesn't, then it's Castano's fight.
Ray, if he wins that fight, is he a Hall of Famer at 154?
Well, I don't think there's ever been an undisputed champion at light middle, has there?
I thought Canelo was. Oh no, he wasn't. Was he?
No, he wasn't.
No,
Okay.
so yeah, there will be by basis that they'll be the first undisputed champion at 154. Unless I'm wrong, I don't think there's ever been a super welterweight undisputed champ.
To be fair, that Charlo at 154, he's fighting the best of the best at that division.
Oh, he is. Yep, he is. The only kid he hasn't fought really is the Australian boy, the one that you were saying earlier when you were on, Tim Tszyu. Yeah, but I don't rate that Tim Tszyu.
Tim Tszyu, he's not ready for that yet.
No, I don't think he's ready for anyone. Put it this way, I think Liam Smith beats Tim Tszyu, and I think both Castano and Charlo do a number on Liam Smith. And I like Liam Smith, everyone knows that. But I don't think he beats Castano. I don't think he beats Charlo.
I wanna ask you a question. Firstly, James Deere had a question. He goes, "Oh, come on, guys, let's not talk crack about Tank, whose Tank is fighting, while you praise Canelo for doing basically the same thing." Come on, James, man. Canelo's fighting champions compared to Tank.
Yeah, true.
You can't compare the two. If that's the question you're going to ask me, man, you can't compare the two. I mean, one's undisputed, one's fighting legit champions. The other one is just going
cherry picking.
Yeah, basically. He's the definition of cherry picking, Tank.
Yeah. You can't compare. But what I wanted to ask you is, Carl and Andy were saying that Callum Smith beats Beterbiev and beats Bivol. That they think that Callum Smith is the threat at 175. That he may end up fighting Canelo again. I totally disagree with that, in the sense that I don't think Callum Smith beats Bivol or Beterbiev. I know you're high on Callum Smith. Yeah. I'm not so high on Callum Smith as I was back in the day, because I thought, he stanked the gaff out against Canelo, and I thought he lost against Ryder the fight before that as well. So I kind of went off on Smith a little bit, after, not so much after the Ryder fight, but after the Canelo fight. And he's gonna have to do something great now for me to kind of get back on that bandwagon. But what do you make of do you agree that Callum Smith beats Beterbiev?
No. I don't know why they said that, to be honest. He doesn't beat both of them. He's a good fighter and I like him. And he doesn't beat Beterbiev, he doesn't beat Bivol. He's our best light heavyweight in this country, but he doesn't beat those two. He puts up a good fight against Joe Smith Jr. That's a winnable fight for him. But he doesn't beat Bivol, who's highly skilled, who's quicker than Callum Smith. I know Callum Smith's got a lot of power. I think Bivol's power's underrated as well. Bivol hasn't had any stoppages for a while, but Bivol's really effective with his backhand. He's got really quick feet. He moves in and out of range really well. And he doesn't seem to get out of second gear. And it's contradictory from Carl, because when you look at the Richards fight, Carl's argument was he never got out of second gear. So if he never got out of second gear, how can you now say that he gets beat by Callum Smith? I just think it's ridiculous. And obviously Beterbiev's far too good for Callum Smith. I think he'll stop Callum Smith for. I like Callum Smith. I like Callum Smith a lot. But I think a lot of people are sleeping on Beterbiev.
I think what Carl said is that Carl said no one beats Bivol in that division, but Callum Smith beats Beterbiev, and Andy said that Callum Smith beats Bivol and Beterbiev. That's what I think.
Well,
that's what I think.
I guess. Yeah, okay. I suppose the technicality there, it's really my fault. Is okay saying it's Carl or when it should have been Andy, or saying it's Andy when it should have been Carl. But for me, the two boys were both saying that Callum Smith beats either Beterbiev Bivol, or both of them. And for me, he doesn't beat them both. So it doesn't really matter whether it's Carl, Andy, or Johnny Thompson down the street. You know, I don't have Smith beating Bivol. I really don't.
I don't think either. I think Smith. I don't think Smith is that level, to be honest. I think he'd get beat at that level all the time, personally. From what I saw in the Canelo fight, I think Beterbiev would bash him up, to be honest.
He's a good fighter, Callum Smith. I think he's a good fighter. He's a class operator. Just these are better. Yeah. Just these are a class above.
Yeah. But Ray, here's the thing. If John Ryder was pushing Callum back, right?
Yeah.
What would Beterbiev do?
Exactly. And I know we can say that Callum Smith was dead at the weight and what have you. But we're talking about, I've said it before about Beterbiev, a very physically strong, powerful light heavyweight. Very big, very strong.
Yeah.
Callum Smith's advantages that he had at super middleweight are going to be lost against Beterbiev. All right. So what he's relying on is his power, but that's also matched by Beterbiev. So all of a sudden, Callum Smith doesn't have those advantages anymore. Now, put him up against Bivol. He'd have some advantages over Bivol, but he doesn't have the athleticism that Bivol's got, the speed of foot, the speed of hand, and also Bivol can crack. Just with So I don't think Smith. I wouldn't put him in the favourite against Beterbiev or Bivol.
Right. Then Dada said that was Smith trained at 168.
Yeah, he was. I know that for a fine fact because I interviewed his brother Paul, and Paul said that, and I could see from the eye test. I mean, I've watched Callum Smith when he was on the GB squad because I've been, I used to live in Liverpool and I was a big fan of all the Smith brothers. So when I knew that they had a fourth brother, I was really interested. I was like, wow, 4 brothers in boxing. So I followed Callum, and Callum was at 69 kilograms when he was on Team GB, which was our amateur squad. And at that point, he was about 6 foot. And they said he was 17, and they were like, oh, he's still growing. And I was like, well, bloody hell, how big is this kid going to be? And Paul, the older brother, was a super middleweight, and they were like, he's going to catch up to him. And I thought, no chance. And then when he turned over as a super middleweight. So yeah, he was trained at 68, but John Ryder's strong, but he's not as strong as Beterbiev. So Imran's made a good point there. John Ryder can push him back, weight trained or not.
Yeah,
Beterbiev's gonna
Right. I don't think Callum Smith has the power at 175. I just don't see it. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't think his power can carry up there. Like, I think it'd be better, even though his weight drained. I don't know. I just can't see him beating Bivol, Smith.
Oh, see what you mean? You don't think he's power will trouble the top boys at 175?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I think you'll beat guys low and below. I think I think he would stop Anthony Yard, people like that. I think at that level, but not at Beterbiev level and Bivol level. Joe Smith Jr.
Anthony Yard can hit, man. Damn.
Sorry?
Yeah, Anthony
Anthony
Yard's a
Yard.
good fighter, man. I like
Yeah.
Anthony Yard.
Well,
I know
I
Ray,
would
you're
favour
not a
Callum
big
Smith in that fight.
fan.
I would favour Callum Smith in that
Oh
fight.
yeah. I think you'd have to. But I don't think Yards. I know. I've seen you speak about Yard, Ray, on before. I'm not. I think Yard. I rate Yard. I actually think Yard may be a problem if he can get the right trainers working with him. I actually think Yard could be a problem. I was really impressed with his performance against Lyndon Arthur. The way he came back, because a lot of people thought he'd lose that fight the second time, and he battered him. That was a good performance. I don't know. Could Yard bully Callum Smith as well?
No. Because I think Yard. The problem with the Lyndon Arthur fight is Lyndon Arthur allowed himself to be overrode. Lyndon Arthur probably wasn't expecting Anthony Yard to put it on him. I think Callum Smith will be, and I think people keep talking about Lyndon Arthur's jab. Callum Smith probably has a better jab than Lyndon Arthur.
Yeah.
And his backhand is more powerful. So I think he's got enough tools, Callum Smith, to keep Anthony Yard at bay.
That would be a good fight, though, don't you think?
Oh,
Ray?
it'd be a great fight.
And
for me, this country's missing a trick with our light heavyweights. Okay, I'll put it to you. You've got Boazzi, Callum Smith, Yard, Arthur. You've got Richards, Craig Richards. You've got Dan Aziz. You've got Callum Johnson. You've got a few there at light heavyweight. For me, there needs to be some sort of tournament. There needs to be some cross promotion tournament to put them all together, and just say, look, let's find out who the best is once and for all.
Yeah. I think Joshua Boazzi is a danger as well.
Boazzi's very, very skillful. I just want to see him. Want to see him progress a lot quicker than he is, because I'm in danger. He's in danger of going in the Conor Benn bracket for me. I want to see him in tests. He's going on this WBA route at the moment, but I want to see him in some proper challenges next year. And because for me, he's not really progressing, which is why he's moved to Virgil Hunter. Credit to him. Okay, let's see what he can do. By next year, he would have had a full year working on that Virgil Hunter.
Ray, when you were telling us all of those 175 fighters, who stopped Canelo at that weight class?
Who would stop them?
Who would stop Canelo?
I just need the British ones, didn't I? But who would stop Canelo?
At 175.
I think Beterbiev's got the best chance of doing it.
Yeah. I think Canelo will go toe to toe with him. Prove to the, because, sometimes I feel like Mexican boxing fans, sometimes they don't give Canelo full credit, because his machismo per se is not like Morales or like Julio Cesar Chavez. If he goes toe to toe with Beterbiev and knocks him out, then that will elevate him. That will probably he'll probably move up to say further than Chavez. You know what I mean? But because of that, he'll have to risk. He has to risk being knocked out himself.
Well, I think that what Canelo needs to do is he has to make sure that when he's fighting these bigger, physically stronger opponents than him, he can't stay in the pocket for too long. I know that's probably where he does his best work, but I'm being serious. If he gets caught by Beterbiev, it could be curtains for him.
Yeah, because right, the reason why I say that is because, you know, when he had a draw with Triple G, a lot of the fans, including Triple G, that I don't know if you remember this, but at that time they were saying that, oh, you know, why you're a Mexican? Why are you always moving forward? Moving backwards. Why don't you come forward and prove yourself that you're Mexican? Like he said, I'm Kazakh and I'm Mexican style. And then in the rematch, he actually did that. He moved forward like there was no tomorrow. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
yeah. But could you see him doing that against Beterbiev?
Yeah, I know. Beterbiev's a big dude, man. Like he's huge compared to Triple G.
I know. And I can't see him doing that against Beterbiev. I think he's going to have to be really smart in that fight, and I think he's probably going to have to spend a lot of it on the back foot, which could be to his detriment because Beterbiev's got crab on him.
Yeah, because right, you know those 168 fights that he had with Billy Joe, Plant, and Smith. He was the one that's moving forward. In fact, he hasn't moved backwards since that first Triple G fight. All of his fights after that first fight with Triple G, he was the aggressor. You know what I mean? So I don't know if he will go back to that style when he fights Beterbiev.
Yeah. That's a fair point to make. He's been the aggressor in those fights, and it'll probably be to his detriment if he's the aggressor against someone like Bivol or Beterbiev, who can just pick him off. So that's why I think him going to light heavyweight is really interesting. And that'll be where we see exactly just how good Canelo really is. Well, we know how. Don't get me wrong. We know how great he is. But these are really, really big challenges where he's not the favorite.
Right, you know when Canelo is moving up to cruiserweight to fight Makabu, I know that Makabu is not as good as Hopkins, but is that like equivalent to like De La Hoya going to 160 and challenging himself at the highest like weight class that he can go up to, even though they're not, obviously Hopkins is better than Makabu, but you know what I mean? Is that equivalent, you think?
Well, yeah, it's got to be, of course, yeah. It's a good observation that. I mean, you know, I suppose people will be pushing him for more with Canelo, won't they? And I just think it's, you know, for somebody to start at welterweight or light welterweight in the case of Canelo at the age of 15 and win a cruiserweight world title, it's absolutely ridiculous. It's unheard of. So, you know, you can even make comparisons to Manny Pacquiao in some cases, but, you know, the only thing I say is, and you just said it there, De La Hoya obviously fought Hopkins, where Canelo, for me, he would get that credit if he had fought someone like Akoli or Greatness.
Yes.
But because he's not, and he's going from a Makabu, that's what dampens it for me. It's like when you're going for the weakest out of all the cruiserweight world champions. He's deliberately going for the weakest.
Yeah, right. It's like that fight when De La Hoya fought the fight before when he fought that 160 who wasn't even that good. I can't remember his name, but he held the belt. Can you remember? Yeah. It's like that. Well, no one brings that up. That even though De La Hoya won that fight and he won a middleweight belt, no one brings that up because he wasn't any good. So I think that might be the same with Canelo here with Makabu.
I hope so. And I think this is the point that Stephen was making, and Stephen was getting criticized for. People were like, "Oh, well, you know, what's going on?" Because you know, Canelo needs to, and I think he's open to criticism. He's open to criticism if he skips 175 and he goes and fights the weakest cruiserweight champion. People are saying, well, how are you cherry picking it if you go 2 weight classes? Cherry picking by going for the weakest champion in that weight category. And the example that you're giving when De La Hoya fought the German guy, wasn't it?
Felix Sturm.
Felix Sturm, yeah. When he fought Felix Sturm, well, Felix Sturm was the weakest of all the middleweight champions.
Yeah, it was.
This is what Macabo is. Macabo was the Felix Sturm of the cruiserweight division. So
yeah,
for me, if you want to test yourself a cruiserweight, go in with a Cody. Go in with Lawrence Cody. He's got less experience than Bradis, so go in with him. But he won't go in with a Cody because a Cody's a tall freak, long arms, hits very hard.
Ray, is that a Curly? I haven't, to be honest, I haven't seen much of him. But is he the guy that Eddie Hearn gave a Rolex watch to?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought so. Man, that guy's huge.
Yeah. He's practically a heavyweight.
6'5".
He's practically a heavyweight.
6'5".
Yeah, big boy.
Yeah. So Ray, would you have Beterbiev stopping Canelo?
I think he can. Yeah. Oh yeah, I think he can.
Would
If
that
he
be your
goes
prediction if that fight was to happen? Do you think Beterbiev stops Canelo?
Yeah. I think he would. I think once I think what will happen is you'll catch him, yeah, and then Canelo will stay hit. This will be late on when Canelo's just taking too much punishment and he's found Beterbiev too big, too physically hard to shift off. I think he gets him with some body shots, slows him down, pushes him back, and he starts putting him away. Yeah, I can see him getting stopped. Absolutely.
Yeah. I think. What about Usyk? You know what? Roy Jones was talking about Usyk, and we were talking about Usyk earlier. That's being, been spoken about that Canelo may fight Usyk. That's a fight at cruiserweight, and Usyk has also mentioned that he wants to fight Canelo.
At what weight class? Cruiserweight.
Cruiserweight.
Canelo doesn't have a chance at cruiserweight against Usyk.
You think Usyk stops him?
No, I think Usyk Usyk wins a unanimous decision there.
Yeah.
I don't think Usyk would stop him. I think Usyk would go for a points win, but he would win it quite comfortably.
Yeah.
All right, can Usyk even make the cruiserweight?
I think he could. Yeah,
that's what I was going to ask.
I think he could.
And it was 230 against 232, I think, against AJ.
Yeah. So most boxers probably shift about £30 to make weight anyway.
Because Usyk hasn't been in cruiserweight for a while now.
They come at the camp £30 heavier. Look, it's been done before. It's been done. People have come out from. I mean, the weight that he's put on, he should be able to take off. I don't think it'd be a problem. I don't think
Canelo takes that Usyk fight. That's not. I don't think because Usyk can also outbox him. He's like twice as big as him.
Mm-hmm.
He probably hits harder, like twice as hard. Like, I don't think Canelo.
So do you see the argument that I'm presenting that Canelo's, although he's going up to cruiserweight, it's against a specific fighter, a fighter that he's until he faces somebody like a Coley, somebody like Bradis, somebody like Usyk at that weight class, I can't take him seriously at cruiserweight.
Yeah, you're right. This is the reason why I give De La Hoya a lot of credit because he fought because 160 was his limit, right? So he fought Felix Sturm. Okay, that was a very close fight. It's debatable whether anyone that was a 50. At the end of the day, that could be a draw. But okay, he won that fight, right? And then he takes on the best middleweight, not only of his generation, but Hopkins is probably right up there in the top 5 all-time greats in terms of heavyweights. Middleweights, and he took him on, right? Whereas like guys like Canelo, he's choosing the worst cruiserweight, like in Makabu, and he's planning to go back down to 175 to fight, Beterbiev and all that. So I got to give credit to De La Hoya for doing that, man. That's balls, man.
I've just seen a comment there from Miguel Palacios saying, why does Canelo need to go to like heavyweight. Well, let me break it down to you, Miguel. I'm not too sure you really remember, but I'm sure Canelo picked up a belt at light heavyweight when he beat Kovalev. So if he went to light heavyweight and then went back down again, that tells me Canelo's strategically picking his opponents. I like Canelo a lot, but for me, he's completed. If you see it like a video game, he's completed 168. Sorry, he's completed super middleweight. So the next thing for him to do is to step up to light heavyweight. That's what fighters do. So I mean, he's not fighting Benavidez, he's not fighting the Charlos, he's not fighting those guys. So step up. You got Zurdo Ramirez up there, Beterbiev, Bivol.
To be fair,
so if he steps up and fights those guys, he needs to do that at light heavyweight rather than fighting the weakest cruiserweight. Why don't you not go and fight the best light heavyweights?
But to be fair, you know those guys you're saying with Charlo and all those guys and Andrade, they're not even at the 168 division. They're at middleweight, so he can't fight those guys.
No, but they want to fight him, so they'll have to go up and fight him because he'll not go down to middleweight, will he?
Yeah, no, he won't go. He probably won't even go back to 168.
Yeah. So they will go up. I think if you said to them the money fight is with Canelo, they'll step up and they'll want to fight him. I guess my point is that there's no business for him anymore at 68 and south of that.
He's finished at 168.
Exactly. So his business now is at 175, not a cruiserweight.
No man,
at 175.
No man, Yunus says you guys are delusional. Canelo ain't going to get in the ring with Beterbiev.
I think you will. I think he will. I think you'll probably want to wait until Beterbiev is, in his eyes, older and slower. But I do think he will.
Now, I reckon he fights him in September. So he'll fight Makabu in May, and then in September he'll fight Beterbiev. Because in my opinion, I don't think Canelo sees Beterbiev as like an Usyk, where it's like a super risky fight. I really think that he can beat him because he beat Kovalev. You know what I mean? He's got that in his psyche. Not only that, he knocked out Kovalev. Yeah,
but as I've explained to you before, there was mitigating factors in that. I mean, he got Kovalev after a long, hard camp with Anthony Yard, and he wasn't winning the fight to the point where he knocked him out.
Yeah,
Beterbiev is a complete.
It wasn't a great performance, was it, Ray?
No, it wasn't.
It was a sloppy performance, sluggish.
Yeah, it wasn't. It wasn't a great performance. Did you see the fight, Little Penny?
Yeah, I did. But Kovalev, even though he was washed up, it is Kovalev, right? So you can't apart from Andre Ward, who's looked good against Kovalev. Like you know what I mean, where you completely dominate him. You know what I mean? Even Andre Ward didn't dominate him that like convincingly. You know what I mean?
But this is you're going against your own argument, Little Penny, because he was better then. He was a lot worse when he fought Canelo, and Canelo still didn't dominate him. So I don't know, Little Penny. I've always said there comes a point where when a fight, sometimes weight categories are there for a reason.
Yeah, I agree.
For a reason.
I agree with you, right? Because when Manny Pacquiao fought Margarito, and Margarito got him in a body shot and almost dropped him. Yeah. In fact, he should have gone down if it wasn't for the ropes. Manny was asked at the post-fight press conference whether he wants to defend his super welterweight belt, and Manny said, "No, give it to Margarito. He can stay in this division. I'm coming down to welterweight." Yeah,
exactly. So just because somebody knocked somebody out doesn't mean they've dominated them. That's what I would say to Rumble Trump skin there. You could be losing a fight and still knock somebody out. It's happened plenty of times before. You can knock somebody out and be losing and be behind on the scorecards. Canelo did not look fantastic in that fight. You need to go and watch that fight again.
Yeah, he didn't. Thing is, Beterbiev fights a different way to Kovalev in the sense that Beterbiev walks you down. He's a pressure fighter, whereas Kovalev was boxing behind the jab.
Exactly.
Beterbiev's going to go to Canelo.
Yeah. Beterbiev's going to give him a lot of problems, a lot of things, because he makes you think, and you've got to be smart on how you're going to keep him off. Canelo's got those skills to do that, but can he keep him up for 12 rounds?
Yeah, because in the first fight with Triple G, where he was going backwards, and because Triple G was moving forward so aggressively, he didn't look good in that fight. Canelo, I mean, like he doesn't fight well moving backwards. You know what I mean? Like he felt uncomfortable.
Canelo.
Yeah, in that first fight with Triple G. So if Beterbiev does the same thing, and Beterbiev is bigger and stronger, Canelo might have some problems.
Yeah, you know, I guess really that's. I mean, I'm so, as much as I love Canelo, I'm struggling to find an argument of how he beats Beterbiev. I know a lot of people say, "Oh, Beterbiev just walks forward; he'd be able to pick him off." But Beterbiev walks forward and he lands. He's not like he's not like a David Benavidez walking forward, you know, with or Margarito, who's there to be hit, with his hands down and that kind of stuff. Beterbiev said, and what I've always said about Beterbiev is when he hits you, you stay hit because he hits that hard. You know, when Beterbiev's landing clean on his opponents and freezing fours, you don't see his opponents getting away because he hits that hard. He hurts him. Look what he did with Marcus Brown. Marcus Brown couldn't. As soon as Beterbiev was, you know, his ones and twos were going to freezing fours, and they were landing, he couldn't get out of the way. He became a punch bag, and that could probably happen now.
Yeah.
Hey, Ray, if he beats Beterbiev and Makabu, is Canelo better than Floyd and Mayweather? Sorry, no. Floyd and Pacquiao?
Nah.
What if it cleans out the 175 division plus the Makabu will win?
What you mean is his resume better, because he'll not be a better fighter? No.
No, resume wise. That's a pretty good resume, Ray. Cleans out 154, 160, 168, 175. Holy crap.
On paper it is, but you've got to think of the opponents.
Yeah. But Ray, at 154, Ray, those opponents were pretty good too, man. Lara, Trout.
But what we're saying is he's become undisputed in two weight classes. Yeah. I think that's a bit harsh to then say whatever Floyd Mayweather's achieved, it's just gone to waste because somebody's been undisputed in two weight classes. So in that case, you could say Clarissa Shields has got better achievements than Floyd Mayweather because she's undisputed in two weight classes.
Yeah.
You wouldn't say that, would you? So Floyd Mayweather for me has achieved far more in his career than what Canelo has. And what the other thing is you haven't picked up on is how many pound for pound fighters has Canelo beaten? Apart from Golovkin, how many pound for pound fighters has he beaten?
Yeah,
that's it.
Cotto in there too, because kind of Cotto at that time.
Cotto was never on the pound for pound list at the time.
Yeah, at the time, yeah, he was at one point, but not.
He was, but he wasn't at the time when he fought Canelo.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
So Mayweather's fought loads of kids on the pound for pound list at the time he's fought them.
Yeah,
so that for me makes Mayweather and Pacquiao as well. In terms of their resume, when it's all said and done, they'll be greater than Canelo's.
Yeah, because Ray, the reason why I ask that is because at 154, right? So this is resume 154. He fought and beat Trout and Lara, who were dangerous at the time. 160, he fought Jacobs, dangerous. Triple G, one of the best pound for pound fighters at the time. 168 is a little bit suspect. Although I thought Billy Joe Saunders, I thought he was a dangerous fighter, man, because he gave Lemieux a boxing lesson. Now he dominated Billy Joe Saunders, but at the time, I thought Billy Joe Saunders was a dangerous fight for Canelo.
See that last bit
I
again?
don't think he said that. I think that Billy Joe was a dangerous fight for Canelo.
See, I didn't think it was.
Yeah, neither did
No,
I.
I didn't think it was at all. I mean, me and Imran spoke about it ages ago. Neither of us gave Billy Joe Saunders a chance, and it proved to be the case. I think it's probably because of that. You see, the thing with Billy Joe Saunders is, apart from the Lemieux fight, he never really looked good in any other fight after that. You know, even in the Eubank fight, he was blown the last 5 rounds. You know, and some of his defenses, you know, when he was on the undercard of that YouTuber, Imran.
Yeah.
And he had a world title fight. He looked terrible in that fight. Who was that against?
Yeah, he did. He looked horrible in that fight.
So I never really give this kid a chance against Canelo. So when that fight was made, for me, there was only one winner.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. He looked terrible in that fight. That was against a guy, and that guy was winning. That guy was winning against him. Yeah, man, that was terrible performance. Guys, quickly, I want to touch on like upset of the year, KO of the year, prospect of the year before we end today.
Yeah.
Upset
of the year for me has to be probably Lara against Josh Warrington, because nobody had even heard of Lara, never mind giving him a chance. And Josh Warrington had vacated his IBF, and he was seen as the best featherweight in the world, and he was lined up to fight. Is it Navarrete?
Yeah,
Navarrete. In a big fight later on in this year. So in my opinion, that fight was because no one expected that. With Kambosos and Lopez, Kambosos is a good fighter. You know, he's at least known. Nobody had heard of Maurizio Lara before the Warrington fight. I don't know anybody who had heard of it. So I would say that's just my opinion. I may be wrong, but I would go for the Lara Warrington fight, because I personally wasn't expecting that. But Kambosos Jr., I knew he had ability. I couldn't go for anything else. And I also said as well, Gabe Rosado against Bet the Bully. That's gonna be up there as well.
Ugas too, man. Ugas.
I don't know. Because when I was on that last spell, a couple of lads there were picking Ugas to beat Pacquiao. So personally, I couldn't go with that one. But yeah, I suppose that was a surprise for some people. But with Pacquiao's age, it was probably it's probably one where the odds weren't as great as what they were for Warrington and Lara, and
Hey Ray, here's another upset comment. Newcastle will win Premier League in 2023.
Yeah, if that happens, that'll definitely be an upset. Absolutely, that even with all the money
that could happen in the next couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. Well, it depends how this season goes. If they get relegated, which looks quite likely.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But they got January now to get some players in.
Yeah. I know, but yeah. I mean, that's what I would go for. Imran upset of the year.
Mine's Kambosos. Because
I can see that as well. I can see that Kambosos.
I didn't even know who Kambosos was until their first fight press conference. No,
really?
I didn't know who he was, man. I thought he was Greek, dude. In fact, he's Australian.
He's half Greek,
I think.
He's half Greek, he's Australian, but he's got Greek heritage.
Yeah. Yeah. Now definitely, and also that was a huge upset because Teofimo Lopez was the best welterweight at the lightweight at the time, and he beat Loma, who everyone regards quite highly. So now I'd have to go with that one.
Ray, who's your prospect of the year, KO of the year, trainer of the year, promoter of the year?
Just on the prospect, just very quickly, how do you define prospect? How many fights do they need to have had? Because I hear some people calling world champions prospect, as somebody said, so what you saying?
No, you can't be a world champion.
Yeah, no, definitely
can't
not.
be a world champion.
Can't be, yeah.
Well, how many fights you need to have had?
Well, I would still consider people like Jaron Boots, Ennis, and Virgil Ortiz prospects.
Okay, right. In terms of, I'll break it down, right? Because if you're talking about, if you're including them, because I know Boots Ennett won it last year. I think he got the ESPN one or something like that. I would probably go for Boots. But there are people I like Xander Zayas. Is that how you pronounce his name?
Zayas.
Zayas. Yeah, sorry. I would go for him as well. But my potential to watch out for has got to be Keyshawn Davis.
Yeah, he's a good fighter.
That guy's quality, absolutely quality. And I would tell everybody to watch out for him. But there's that's who I would go for.
What about your trainer of the year, promoter of the year, fight of the year?
Promoter of the year is very, very hard because there's only really Bob you can go for, Warren, Hearn, De La Hoya. I mean, really, who else? I don't think Eddie Hearn's had the best of years, to be honest. I think the zone hasn't hit the heights he thought it would done. Just look at the shows that they've had. So for me, I'll probably have to go Arum with promoter of the year because he had the fight of the year with Wilder and Fury 3. So, and trainer of the year, I'm probably going to go for Eddie Rain also because of Canelo.
Yeah. And fight of the year going Fury Wilder.
Yeah, well, I need to do a women's one as well because I don't want to be seen as like too male heavy.
Yeah, go on.
I think the best male fight has got to be Fury Wilder 3 because I had everything. For me, it's the best heavyweight fight in a long time. And the last time I said that was the Klitschko Joshua fight. So the best female fight was got to be Harper Jonas. Yeah, because that was a class fight. That was quality.
Jonas, anybody. She comes to fight.
That's true because she had a great fight with Katie
Taylor.
Yeah. You're right there. You're definitely right there.
Jonas, I thought probably deserved a draw against Katie Taylor. That was very close.
Yeah, she did, and I thought she beat Terry Harper. I've never been a big Terry Harper fan. So
she got knocked out, didn't she, Harper, in the next fight against
badly. I've seen a good shout there for Michaela Mir for Women Fighter of the Year, but I would probably go for. I would have probably gone for
Baumgartner.
Well, Baumgartner got a great victory against Harper. That was a class stoppage.
Knockout of the female year.
Yeah, that would probably definitely be knockout of the female year. But I mean, Serrano becoming the first proper female millionaire. For me,
is she a millionaire?
Yeah, she's a millionaire now.
But ain't Katie Taylor a millionaire?
Yeah, Jake Paul made her a millionaire. So,
wow.
But
isn't Katie Taylor a millionaire, Ray?
Not from purses though. It's a technical, like not from purses.
Right, okay.
not from purses. No, she's never had a
Oh, you
million.
mean like she's never earned over $1 million?
Yeah, for a fight. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
She's had a good year. Chantel Cameron's had a good year, becoming unified champion at 140. She's had a very good year. Michaela Mears doing great things. So yeah. I just don't think we should be forgetting women's boxing, because over the pandemic,
it's on the rise now, isn't it?
On the pandemic, women's boxing produced some great fights, especially in our country. And man, there was some, every time
the upset of the year was when what's her name, Shannon Courtney lost. I thought she should have won that fight.
Yeah.
What's her name again? Was she lost?
Yeah, that was a good point. But
Ray's not a big fan of Shannon, though. Are you, Ray?
Why?
Not really. No, I don't think she's as good as. I don't think her and Ebony Bridges are. Even though they put up a good fight, I don't think they're good fighters in their own right. I think that I don't know how anyone can be ready for a world title. Sorry,
she's got power. Shannon Courtney.
A little bit, but she hasn't got much else. And Ebony Bridges doesn't have power. Ebony Bridges, just kind of walks forward, throwing punches, and she's tough. Tough. But it's a bit like, for me, if you say somebody's best quality is that they're tough or they got heart, straight away I know they're not a very good fighter, because you're supposed to be tough. You're supposed to have heart. It's a bit like in football. It's a bit like me saying to you, Imran, tell me about Leicester's best player. And you say, it's Jamie Vardy, and he's got a great first touch. Well, all footballers in the Premier League should have a great first touch.
Yeah.
So for me, they put up a good fight, but no, it's levels. And if you look closely, Ebony Bridges isn't the best at her weight in Australia. Never mind in the world. Go look at it.
Ray, I want to see that rematch with Rachel Ball.
Rachel Ball's a good fighter. Rachel Ball, because she knows how to jab and move.
I don't think she's coming back.
Really?
Rachel
Why not?
Ball?
Yeah, isn't she still out?
Well, it's an injury, isn't it?
Well, I thought it was COVID.
Yeah, CV, she hasn't fought in a while, Rachel Ball.
I thought she got injured.
I thought it was COVID that she caught, and she got it bad. Can someone check on that? I'm driving.
Yeah. Because even if she has got COVID, I think at some point she will be back.
Hey, CV, who's your fighter of the year?
Fighter? I don't have one.
You must have a fighter of the year. That's someone that you thought performed excellently throughout the year.
Well, I wouldn't say throughout the year, but Usyk's win is pretty big up there.
Yeah, she's got long COVID.
Yeah. So Rachel Ball's out.
Yeah. But that was quite a while ago, though.
I think it'll be
in May.
Yeah, I think she should be.
She's suffering.
Should be getting there.
Should be all right now. But yeah, CV, who's your fighter of the year? Usyk.
To me, I guess the fight for me was Usyk beating Joshua. I didn't see that happening. Viewing how Usyk performed in his previous fights,
I agree with
and that one shocked me. That's the one for me. But is he fighter of the year? My fighter, I don't know. There was Baumgartner had a good fight. That was a good win. Wow. I think when Chocolatito beat Estrada, but they didn't give him the win.
Yeah,
I thought that was a good fight considering. That hurt. That one hurt. I don't know. There were some good fights. I guess I would have to say Usyk.
A lot of people said Canelo.
Castano Charlo was a good fight as well.
Yeah, great fight.
A competitive fight. But I just the shock of Usyk beating Joshua for me. That's what did it. I did not see that performance coming out of Usyk at all.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I was never shocked by that. I was never shocked. Like, I think I always knew Usyk was great, you know?
Yeah, but in man, I can see
Yeah.
where Stevie's coming from. What he's saying is what
Yeah.
I was saying at the start
Yeah.
was Usyk's being so poor at heavyweight.
Yeah.
Joshua's bigger, stronger,
Yeah.
and a better fighter than Derek Chisora. So Chisora's giving the kid problems. What do you think?
Yeah.
What do you think Joshua's going to do? And Usyk, turn it upside down. I've seen a comment there from Dondara about Stephen Fulton. Yes,
Yeah,
Stephen
he's a good
Fulton's had
talent as well.
Yeah. Stephen Fulton hasn't he beat like 2 or 3 undefeated kids?
Yeah. I think he has. He's
Yeah.
he's
We've
not.
mentioned Josh Taylor. Miguel. But Stephen
Josh
Fulton's had a
Taylor
good year.
was. Yeah, Josh Taylor he's had a good year. But I just think Josh Taylor had one fight, whereas I don't know.
It doesn't matter, Imran. For me, it doesn't matter because some fighters do fight once a year.
Yeah.
So we can't just give. See, that's why I'm not giving it to Canelo because he fought 4 times. I'm giving it for the performances and what those meant.
Yeah.
Josh Taylor's win meant a lot. Britain hasn't had an undisputed boxing champion for how many years? 18 years or something like that, even longer. And it's in a 4-belt era, so it's a first in a 4-belt era, and he wasn't a massive favorite in that fight. So Josh Taylor's win is very significant.
Ray, shouldn't Usyk be fighter of the year then?
Well, he wasn't undisputed from beating Joshua, was he?
No. What I mean is like what that performance meant, like to the heavyweight division and how it changed the landscape. Because people weren't expecting Usyk to win that fight, and as you said, he was an underdog. Like Josh Taylor Ramirez was a 50-50 fight. Usyk and Joshua wasn't a 50-50 fight. That was probably, what would you say, 70-30 fight?
Oh yeah, 80-20, but yeah, it makes no difference.
Yeah. Do you see where I'm coming from? So I don't know whether maybe Usyk. I don't know. CV had Usyk. Personally, I have Canelo, but yeah, I can see Usyk and I can see Josh Taylor because, like you said, you've made a good point about Josh Taylor there.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's Canelo, Usyk, and Josh Taylor. But I wouldn't, if somebody said Usyk or somebody said Josh Taylor, I wouldn't argue with those. I wouldn't argue with those at all.
I do agree with you, Ray, that Josh Taylor would go under the radar. Nobody would mention him. But now that the way you've mentioned it and the way you've talked about it, you can understand why he should be in the recognition. You know what I mean?
Yeah. For sure. I mean, all 3 of those fighters have achieved great things. There's other fighters that have achieved great things as well.
Like, guys, you would say Kambosos as well.
Kambosos is achieved great things. Nonito Donaire.
Yeah, I was about to say that. Right?
Yeah.
He's had a terrific year. In terms of the loss against Inoue. Look how he's come back from that.
Didn't he beat O'Barley and then beat?
He did. So there's lots of things. That's the beauty about boxing, isn't it? It's so subjective, and everyone's got their own opinions about it.
But I think the way the Boxing Writers Association, the way they vote these fighter of the year, I think Canelo's gonna win it, man.
Probably. But I think between us, and we're just proper good old-fashioned boxing fans. But we put up some really good arguments tonight. I mean, we put up some really, really good arguments, even for fight of the year. And I would agree with what Don Dora's put up there. Nonito, the best fighter over 35. If you had one, if you had the category for best all-timer,
but isn't Bud Crawford, isn't he 35 years old? Or 30?
34.
Oh, 34.
Yeah,
okay.
34.
Yeah. But I mean, we always knew Crawford was cream of the crop, and he's unbeaten. But I think Nonito Donaire, we weren't expecting him to have the Indian summer that he's having. Albeit his opponents haven't been, top notch, but he's still, look at the manner he's beating his opponents. You're not expecting that.
Right. His wife said, Rachel Donaire, she said that Nonito can make 115. So because she wants him to fight like the guys like Chocolatito and those guys and Estrada.
That'd be interesting. I've always said, coming from a boxing background, Little Penny, it's one thing making the weight, it's another thing performing at the weight.
Rachel said that Nonito makes 118 easy.
Yeah, but it's one. You see, at those smaller weight classes, Little Penny, the extra 2-3 pounds makes a big difference.
Yeah, they do. Like huge.
A huge difference. So
I don't think he makes it, right? 115. No, I think 118 is like his lowest.
Yeah, I think 118. I agree with you, Little Penny. I really do. I think 115 takes too much out of him.
He's massive, man. Even for the weight he's at right now, he's huge.
Yeah.
118. He's
he is. He's big for 118. He's big for 118, and to drag him down to 115, Plus, I still want to see him in with Casimiro.
Yeah, that's a great fight.
Yeah, guys, just to speak about that fight, do you know that Philippines is actually on Team Casimiro on that fight, not Donaire?
Really?
Yeah. If you look at his Instagram account, I know a lot of you guys probably don't know because it's in Tagalog. A lot of those guys are saying, like, they're giving Casimiro a pass on him, making comments about his wife. But then a lot of the fans and Filipinos are saying that settle it in the ring then. Don't settle it on the courts and these legal, settle it in the ring. Like, if you think that he's wrong, settle it in the ring. That's what a lot of Filipinos are saying because, Filipinos have that mentality of that, no dramas, dude. If you think you can beat him, settle it in the ring. Like a cockfight, you know what I mean? Don't worry about all those other external stuff. Settle it in the ring.
So who do you think wins out fight, Little Penny?
Oh, I don't know, man. That's a good one. I'm gonna go slightly with Casimiro, man, because he's young, dude. He's hungry. He wants what Donaire has.
He's vicious, Casimiro.
With things like this, man, you gotta go with the young guy, man. Because Donaire sometimes, I know he hasn't done it lately, but sometimes he falls in love with his left hook. And he's done it in the past for so long. I'm gonna have to go with the young kid, dude, because he's got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
Plus Donaire, how old is Donaire? He's like friggin' old.
I think he's 39.
Yeah, he's getting on, man. Donaire, yeah.
And at that, dude, and CV at that weight class, man, 39. That's like friggin' 45.
Yeah, true. That's the thing, Little Penny. It's harder about the lower weights, isn't it?
Yeah, and because of the punch count, but that's why when I keep hearing people saying that Donaire can make 115, I don't see it.
Yeah, true.
His wife is his trainer now, which I think sometimes I don't know, what does Rachel Donaire? Look, I know Rachel Donaire is a Taekwondo champion, but what does she know about boxing?
I don't. I can see her being a good manager.
Yes, she is his manager.
Yeah. But I can see her being a good one. She might be his manager, but that doesn't mean she's a good one. But I can see her being good. But being a trainer, something else. I struggle to see her as being an effective trainer. But if it works for him, fair enough.
Because it's interesting how much Donaire has accomplished in boxing, yet the Filipino fans, they're kind of like on Team Casimiro because Casimiro is promoted by MP Promotions, which is Pacquiao's promotional company, yet they still want to side with Casimiro. And I think that's one of the reasons why Donaire was a little bit peeved off because there were so many comments there from Filipinos saying, settle it in the ring. Don't worry about what he says about your wife. because that's like mind games. Taylor in the ring,
Mm-hmm.
and then Donaire called that fight off. And then he wanted to go with the drug testing and all this kind of stuff. Like, it's like, dude, like,
But isn't Nonito Donaire like part American? Doesn't he have some American citizenship?
No, he was born in in fact, he was actually born in the same place as Manny Pacquiao, General Santos City, and then he moved to America. That's why his English is so good, is because he grew up in America.
Yeah,
but he was
so that's what I'm saying.
He was born in the same.
That's what I said. Part, like he's a part American in terms of he was brought up in America, or he's got some citizenship in America. Yeah. I'm wondering whether that plays a part in.
No, not really, Ray. Because I don't know if you remember, this guy's name is Brian Valoria.
Brian Valoria, yeah.
Yeah, he actually wasn't even born in Philippines. He was born in Hawaii, but his parents are Filipino, and he was beloved by the Filipino fans. Whereas for some reason with Donaire, I don't know. I think it's half is because Manny Pacquiao really wanted to sign him in MP Promotions, and Donaire wanted to do his own thing with Top Rank, and good on him, because why would you want to give another promoter a purse, a slice of your purse, when you don't need to, right? And I think because Pacquiao was peeved off of that, and the fact that Pacquiao didn't endorse him, I think that's the reason why Filipinos are a bit like, they don't like him as much.
Right.
Yeah, I always wondered that, because Filipinos don't like Donaire that much, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't understand that they don't like him. They don't regard him as highly. Like, I regard Donaire in the top 5, like, best fighter or Filipino of all time. But if you go to Philippines, like, what CV was saying about, we might have a different perspective on the best Mexican fighters ever, but if you go to Mexico, they'll have someone else. The same thing in Philippines. Like, I don't think because Philippines has got a rich history in boxing as well, with Pancho Villa, Seferino Garcia, Flash Elordi, and these guys. I don't know if they regard him as highly as that, whereas I do. I have him in my top 5. I think I have him in number 3. But in Philippines, I don't think he'll be on that list, to be honest.
So what are you guys saying for knockout of the year?
I'm going to go Jake Paul.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know. What was a more brutal knockout than that?
Gabe Rosado.
Valdez against Berchelt.
Yeah. Actually, that's a good one. I don't know. How can we count Jake Paul? Because obviously he's a YouTuber. I still think. That was probably the most vicious. The way he went down head first. That was a horrible knockout.
Yeah. Wasn't that sanctioned in Tampa Bay as a boxing event?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, well, that counts, man. And that's also Jake Paul. He helps out a lot of boxers too, like Serrano.
Yeah.
Well, Ray was just saying, wasn't he, that she made $1 million from a fight?
She made $1 million, yeah. She made $1 million.
Who's yours, Ray?
It's a tough one. I do like that Valdez one that I just mentioned.
What about Callum Smith? Dundada's right. Callum Smith.
The only thing with the Callum Smith one was, well, it's a knockout of the year, so knockout of the year doesn't.
Yeah.
At least with the Valdez one.
Gabe Rosado? Gabe Rosado's knockout was huge.
Yeah, but this is what I'm trying to explain. The difference between them ones, right? I'll break it down. Callum Smith against Castillo, right? Castillo was a gimme for Callum Smith, just to get him used to the weight.
Yeah.
Berchelt and Valdez was a world title fight.
Yeah.
And Gabe Rosado was the underdog in that fight. He was expected to lose. So that's why Imran knows I said this, because I said this when I was on the chat, when I was waiting to come on here, when I was eating my takeaway. I picked Gabe Rosado on the basis that he was the underdog in that fight. He wasn't expected to win, never mind knock out Beck the Bully. That's the difference for me. Yeah, I know Castillo went 12 with Bivol, but he was in a comeback fight for Callum Smith where he was expected to lose. You can't tell me that was a 50-50 fight for Callum Smith. the Gabe Rosado fight, yeah, Gabe was also one expected to win, and the Bichelt fight, Valdez fight, was a world title fight. So the magnitude of those two fights were bigger than Callum Smith's fight with Castillo. That's the way I'm going with it. Some people see it different, but Callum Smith's knockout was beautiful, by the way. I'm not disputing that. But what I'm talking about, sometimes the context makes a knockout bigger than, you know what I mean? Because all the
I'd agree. Yeah, for sure.
You know, but sometimes you got to look at the context.
What about Conor Benn? Conor Benn's knockout was
against Algeria.
Yeah, that was sick as well, man.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. I can't
but again, Ray's points make sense that I was against old, washed up Algeria.
Yeah,
true.
Yeah. Fury's knockout of Wilder.
Oh, that was good.
Oh, yeah, that was a good one.
You could put that there because of the magnitude of that fight, the fact that Fury had been on the floor a couple of times.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that. That was a good knockout as well.
Yeah. And I agree with you there, Don Dora, because that's why I don't mention Jake Paul in that category. Because of the context, because Jake Paul's fight with Woodley, you can't put that in the same sentence as some of the fights that I'm mentioning. So I agree with you there, Don Dora. That's why I haven't mentioned it.
Right, he did well on pay-per-view, a sellout as well.
Who, Jake Paul?
Yeah.
But Jake Paul's always going to do well on pay-per-view because of who he is. But that's not the... For what title was it for?
You know? He did have a belt.
He had his own belt made up.
He made that belt himself, man.
There's no crayons, but it doesn't matter. It's a belt.
He made his own belt.
It was
apparently that belt was worth 500 grand or something.
Oh my god!
Yeah, no, serious. He got it made. I don't know, and but he goes, "I get to keep the belt even if I lose."
WBC will probably do that to Canelo.
Like, you know what?
They do. Yeah, exactly. Little Penny, exactly.
You know what I found weird is the fact that he gifted Tyron Woodley a Rolex.
Nah, that was strategic, Imran. He wanted he just wanted to soften him up, and when he did, I thought, dude, you're going down, man. You got no hope now, because he that warrior mentality is now completely gone. Manny Pacquiao does that too. He used to do that to Eric Morales all the time, and Eric would hate it because he has to be nice to him, because you know what I mean. Especially in the second and the third fight. Like, I don't know why people haven't picked that up. Pacquiao does that all the time. Like, that strategy where you're too nice. In fact, what's his name? In that press conference with Spence picked that up. I don't know if you guys remember that. Like, he said, "Oh, Manny Pacquiao showers you with a lot of these compliments, but then when you get in the ring, it's like, where are those compliments now? You're like a friggin' whirlwind now, like a hurricane. Where is that nice guy that I saw in the press conference?"
Yeah. I get that, softening you. Well, Andy Ruiz did that to Joshua, didn't he?
Yes. When he took the belts, remember?
Yeah. He goes, "I'm here. I'm a fan of yours, man. Can I have a picture? This, that."
Yeah. And then when AJ gave him his belts, remember?
Yeah.
Because AJ probably thought this would be the last time you'll get to hold any of these belts.
Yeah. I think Andy Ruiz let himself and his career down. If you're beating Joshua the second time, who knows where Ruiz would be now, but it is what it is.
AJ was beatable in Saudi Arabia, man. He was very beatable. Especially the gameplay that he had. Ruiz could have beaten him. He just had to pressure him.
I suppose, but Anthony Joshua did box well that night.
He boxed scared there, Imran. Ray. I thought he boxed.
Yeah, he was scared. Yeah, you're right. He was scared, but he did box well. But
I think Ruiz was badly out of shape. He was.
Yeah, he was. Mess. He didn't even train, Imran.
I wouldn't go as far as saying he didn't train, but he was a mess.
Yeah,
his trainer said.
Yeah, but I think you know when you've been beaten in that fashion, when you're beating somebody easy, and in a rematch you get done. I think it's very tempting to say, "Oh well, I didn't train."
Yeah.
Because you need an excuse for a performance that bad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Definitely. I don't think he's gonna reach that level, Ray. Again, I think that performance flattered him a little bit. He's a good fighter. Don't get me wrong. Ruiz can fight, but I don't think he's as good as what people are making him out now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
You know, Imran, a lot of people think that he won that fight against Joseph Parker here in New Zealand.
Yeah, but again, Joseph Parker has been very sloppy. What's he done since then, really?
Apart from beat
A lot of
Chisora
people
a
thought
couple of
Huey
times.
Fury beat him as well.
Yeah,
Don't
I thought
you say,
Huey Fury
Ray?
beat him. Yeah, I thought Huey Fury beat him as well.
So really, when you think about it, Huey Fury, Ray, when you look at Huey Fury's level, where is he at? European level? So what does that really say about Andy Ruiz beating him if it was a close fight? So what I'm saying is Parker's not really done much. Like, to be honest, Parker's best performance was probably the one that he had with Chisora, and that's against Chisora. Just this one. I think that's probably Parker's best performance, Ray. Since Takam.
Yeah.
You know, Parker's looked bang average.
Yeah, Parker's hasn't looked good at all.
But with the Reynosos, right? Don't you think that can get the best out of? I know he didn't look good in his last fight, but don't you think they'll get the best out of him?
Out of who?
The Reynosos.
Out of who? Get the best out of who?
Ruiz.
I don't know. I mean, he's had how many fights he's had on the Reynoso now? 2.
1, I think.
Just one.
Just the one. And that was when he had lost all that weight against
terrible, by the way.
Against Chris Arreola.
Yeah.
Didn't look that good in that fight though.
No.
Yeah.
No.
So if look, the thing with Andy Ruiz is he's had that many trainers. So it's down to him. If it doesn't work for him in Eddie Reynoso's gym, he might as well pack in the sport. It's not as if he's had a couple. He's had about 6 or 7 trainers, Andy Ruiz. I just think he's one of those that's got talent, but he hasn't got the substance to go with it.
Yeah.
You know, he just doesn't want to train hard. He's probably, you know how you can imagine Canelo, people like him, being the first one in the gym and the last one to leave, and train on weekends, train on Christmas Day. Can you see Andy Ruiz train on Christmas Day?
Nah, no chance.
He won't even. He probably won't train on a birthday or on a weekend.
Yeah.
You know, so he hasn't got the dedication to go with his talent.
But Ray, the Reynosos haven't really said that. That's more Ryan Garcia, right? They haven't really said that. You know, they haven't complained about Andy Ruiz, have they?
No, they haven't complained about Andy Ruiz. And in terms of Ryan Garcia, in my opinion, that was only Canelo offering constructive criticism. I think the eye test tells you about Andy Ruiz judging his performance.
Yeah.
And his weight loss. He didn't do it properly. And he had to rush it, which is why he's lost a lot of weight in a short space of time. He should have lost that weight gradually. Because I reckon if Andrew Ruiz had it properly throughout his career, he probably would be a cruiserweight. Ryan Garcia is slightly different. I think Ryan Garcia is a whole different live stream altogether, because with Ryan Garcia, when he comes back, I think I've said this on the last time I was on here, he's not going to be in an easy fight. They're looking at putting him against somebody like Isaac Cruz. That's a real tough fight for your comeback fight. So I think Ryan Garcia probably looking at it and thinking, I don't want to stay at lightweight no more.
Is he a top level fighter, Ray? Ryan Garcia?
Who? I don't know him, man, because he has got good power.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not impressed by his skill. A lot of, and I don't want to be funny with the Americans, but a lot of the Americans hype him up, saying, you know, he's a special talent and all this. But Luke Campbell gave him some problems.
Yeah, gave him big problems.
And Luke Campbell, you know, I know he's retired now and all that, but I wouldn't have put him in the top 10 lightweights.
No. But Ray, I like the way Ryan goes to the body, though. He really attacks it like
he does. But
I like that.
He does, and I like it as well, Little Penny. But somebody's going to stand up to that. So what else is he going to do?
But Ray, I think he's the one out of all of the boxers he's the one that has the most potential to cross over. If he becomes successful because of his fan base, because even the females like him, right?
Yeah.
He has the potential to cross over like what Pacquiao did and what Mayweather did and De La Hoya. You know what I mean? Because of even Gatorade, which is a brand that everyone recognizes, even they are sponsoring him. You know what I mean? So that tells you he's got appeal. He's just got to put it in the ring, man.
I think he could be bigger than Mayweather and Pacquiao because of, he's got all the demographics. He ticks all the boxes.
Yeah, I agree.
That level, though, man, he's not going to reach that level, I don't think.
No. But that's the thing. He doesn't necessarily need to be as good as them to reach the commercial aspect. Do you see what I mean?
He's also friends with the Pauls. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if you saw 2 years ago, Jake Paul and Logan Paul, they were training with him.
Yeah, because he had one of them on the body bag. Yeah. But he has got all the crossover potential, but the problem is they need to match him to absolutely maximize that potential. They need to match him properly. But I just think that he's probably not as good as what they think he is. So he'll end up getting found out. That's the problem with him.
I would have loved that Fortuna fight just to see where he is. The Javier Fortuna fight.
Yeah, that would have been a good fight for him at the time, but
maybe put him in against Linares.
I would like to see him against which is it? What is it? Either Zepeda or Pedraza. I forget which one's that.
He's at 140, isn't he?
Which one, Pedraza?
No, Pedraza's at 130. Zepeda's at 140.
Oh, so he moved up for his next fight?
Well, Zepeda was always at 140. Isn't that the guy that they want Josh Taylor to fight?
No, Josh Taylor fighting Catwell.
No, I'm saying isn't Zepeda the one that they want Josh Taylor to fight, the one that knocking people out?
Josh Taylor's fighting Catwell.
No, I know he's fighting Catwell, but Zepeda at 140 is a guy that's stopping people, and they want him to fight Josh Taylor. They think that's a good fight for Josh Taylor, a dangerous fight.
And Pedraza's the one is he?
Yeah, Zepeda just starched Baranchik. He just knocked him out. And then he had another fight recently, and he stopped some other guy. I can't remember who he stopped.
Well, he needs to be. He needs to be somebody at lightweight that's going to push him. Because Luke Campbell there was a lot of unanswered questions in that fight.
But Ray, he got up from that fight and proved how good he was.
Yeah, but this was against somebody who, we kind of knew in the UK was on his way out. Yeah. And he was expected to get rid of him quite comfortably. And he did eventually, but he struggled to at times. So yeah, I think from now, if you're asking me how would I like to see him come back, put him in with Jojo Diaz.
Yeah,
Jojo Diaz.
Was he supposed to fight Jojo Diaz?
Yeah, I think so. Before he fought Haney.
Yeah. Hey, Dundada wants to come in. Hey, Dundada. I always see Dundada here, and also when I go to the LDB,
put him in. Bring him on. If you want to come in, bring him on.
Yeah, Dundada. I mean, we'd like to
I've already dropped the link. I've already dropped the link many times. He's not come on.
We'll drop it now. He's got no excuse now.
But Ray, if Ryan Garcia cleans out the 135 division, like he beats Loma, he beats Haney, he beats Tank, I think he could be a superstar, man, like what De La Hoya used to be, where he was so popular amongst the females.
Yeah, I would agree. I
just don't think he's as good as them guys.
There's a good fight for him. There's Rolly. There's Rolly that'll be an interesting fight. There is a kid in the lightweight division called Zepeda. William Zepeda. I knew I'd seen the name. So this kid, yeah, he's
Hey, Dandara is on.
Is he on?
Yeah, he's on. Let him speak.
Whoa, Dondana,
What's
man.
going on, fellas? What's
What's
going on,
happening?
fellas, man? Y'all doing some good work, man. Y'all cooking today, man. Y'all doing some good boxing talk, man. I
Yeah,
like
how
what
you
y'all
doing?
been talking about.
Is this
Hey,
the first
Dandara, I
time you've
always
been
see you
on?
on those. Dandara, I always see you in those LDB. We always meet each other at those LDB, those.
LDBC channels, man. Those guys are, I don't know, man. They something else, man. I mean, that's why I like coming to Imran channel because he keep it objective, non-biased. He's not pushing a narrative. That's why I like coming over here.
Yeah, true.
It's good hearing you, man. It's good putting a voice to a name.
Yeah, true.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
I hit
I've been Dundada's like somebody that I know for like like he's just a name that like when someone says Dundada, you just know. You know what I mean? It's not somebody like you're just there all the time. So I kind of know you're like one of the guys that are always there. So good having you on, man.
So let's put it on them then. So okay, Dondara, now you're on. Welcome. So what I'll say to you is, give us your fighter of the year, your knockout of the year, prospect of the year, and your upset of the year.
Yeah, I think it's no doubt the fighter of the year has to be somebody that became undisputed. So I wouldn't be mad at anybody from Canelo to Josh Taylor. Or, that's probably the only two people I have for fighter of the year, Canelo or Josh Taylor. I wouldn't be mad at any of those.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to knockout of the year, I think it has to be Valdez over Berchelt. That was just a nasty KO. He set it up. He was dominating the fight, and he was a massive underdog. Y'all, we can't forget Valdez was a massive underdog. If anybody was gonna get KO'd, they thought Valdez was gonna get KO'd. So if we want to bring context into that, and as far as what'd you say, fight of the year?
Yeah.
Or prospect. Fight of the year, yeah, it's probably gonna be just because it's the heavyweight division. It's probably gonna be Fury and Wilder, just because it's the heavyweight division. And as far as prospect of the year, man, I was on another panel right here. Because I'm in America, so I was in a panel over here, and a lot of people were saying Conor Benn.
Wow.
Conor Benn. A lot of people were saying Conor Benn or Conor Benn, David Morrell, and guys like that. I don't think Boots Ennis is a prospect anymore. I think he's sort of like a contender now.
Yeah.
And Virgil Ortiz, I think they're sort of contenders because they're about to be called mandatory. So I don't think I wouldn't call them prospects. So I'd say guys like Jared Anderson, the real big baby. Y'all know who that is? He's on Top Rank, the heavyweight.
Oh yeah. Jared Anderson. Yeah.
He's fought like 5 times this year. We got Xander Zayas, but we got guys like Conor Benn. They're under 25. They got a few fights. They haven't fought for the title. But guys like David Morrell, he only has 6 fights, but the only thing with him, he's a WBA regular champion. So I don't know if y'all want to count him.
Is he the light heavyweight?
No, David Morrell is the 168. Yeah, 168 Cuban. He's the WBA regular champ. So I don't know if y'all want to call champions as prospects. He's only got 6 fights. He just fought last week against Atlantis.
Yeah, but the WBA did that all the time. They did that with the light heavyweight called Shumanov years ago.
Yeah.
The WBA have fighters that have had like a few fights and they give them all these interims. But he's a good fighter. I call him a prospect. Yeah, I'll give you that one.
Hey, Dandara, what about that Puerto Rican kid, Xander?
Xander Zayas, yeah, he's fought like 5 times. Top Rank, man, they do a real good job of keeping their young guys busy, keeping their name in the airwaves. That's why everybody knows about Big Baby Anderson and Xander Zayas, because they've been kept busy all year round. And in our reality, it's probably going to be Xander Zayas or Real Big Baby that wins the Prospect of the Year award when it comes to ESPN.
Hey, Zandara, do you think Xander? Do you think he's going to be a star? Just based on the eye test?
He's Puerto Rican. He's Puerto Rican. With the eye test, I think he will be. Well, he's at 154, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I think he's at 154.
Do you guys know anyone called Joey Spencer?
Yeah.
He just fought yesterday. Last night.
Yeah.
He was a prospect of the year for the PBC like 2 times before.
Yeah.
Joey Spencer. I mean, he's a good little fighter. I don't think he's ready for the Charlos of the world or the Castanos, but he's a good little fighter. He's only 21 years old.
Yeah, I think he's only had about 10 fights or something, hasn't he?
Yeah. He's only 21. I think he has trained with the Kronk Gym. I think he's from Detroit, actually.
Yeah, he's from Michigan, yeah.
Yeah, I think he's from Detroit, yeah. He's a good little fighter, too.
Yeah, good kid.
Guys, I want to finish on this topic, Ray, before we call it a night.
Mm-hmm.
Derek Chisora, man. Obviously, there's a lot of calls for him to retire, Ray. Just a question for us Brits. And I know that you guys can chip in as well. Ray, should he retire?
Yes, absolutely. He's about 100 years old now, yeah? He's a gatekeeper. I think the best way to answer this question is, where does he go now? Yeah. He's had 3 defeats in a row. He's not in line for any European titles, British titles, world titles. So what's the point? Effectively, who's he looking at? Joe Joyce. You know, in Joe Joyce, you're probably thinking, well, what does he do for me? So there's nowhere for him to go. I don't think he can argue about being on the top of the bill anymore. You know? I mean, who's he a good fight for? Huey Fury?
Yeah.
Really? Do you really want less money to find somebody like Huey Fury? I just don't see where he goes. So for me, he's got to retire.
Yeah. What about you guys?
I mean, after that fight, you know, he said he wasn't going to retire. He said he's ready to get back in the ring. So, you know, I don't know, man. I think when it comes to Derek Chisora, I think it comes down to his conditioning and his stamina more than anything else. I think he still has a couple fights left in the tank, man. You know,
I think
I wouldn't
he
be
should
mad if
retire.
he retires.
He should retire and let Jake Paul come in. He should pass the torch to Jake Paul, and people need to learn. They're going to realize they're going to have to give the respect to Jake Paul, all jokes aside.
Dom, you love Jake Paul, man. What's going on with you and Jake Paul? Jake Paul's not a boxer, man. We don't take him seriously.
I'm telling you, lad, Canelo is shook in his boots right now after Jake Paul's last performance. No, all jokes aside.
I want to pay for whatever you're
Canelo's
drinking.
Jake and Paul.
Jake Paul is the fighter of the year, and he has the knockout of the year. And people, for real, they're gonna have to give him his respect.
Give me some. Give me what you're smoking, man.
Yeah,
I want to smoke what you're smoking right now.
Dom, man, come on, that's crazy, man. You came on earlier, you were saying that as well about Jake Paul, but Jake Paul's, he's man.
He's nothing but a circus act, a side attraction.
He has one-punch knockout power.
Guys.
Yeah, but one-punch knockout power against who, though?
He sounds like
against MMA guys, against basketball players.
A UFC champion. He was a champion. He knocked him out. What a fight!
Yeah, but if that UFC champion took him in the octagon, the fight would be over in 20 seconds.
Yep.
But this is
Right,
boxing.
so if he fought Tyron Woodley in the octagon, it would be over in 20 seconds.
Just think about in his first 4 fights, who all the opponents he's fighting, Askren, this guy, the better opponents than these other fighters that are, you know, and people have to realize that Jake Paul,
who are we talking? No, but which fighters are we talking about?
Ben Askren, a UFC champion, Tyron Woodley, a UFC champion, Nate Robinson.
Nate Robinson's never boxed in his life. He was a basketball player.
Well, Jake Paul's trying to fight these other guys, but they're scared. He's calling Canelo out. Canelo doesn't want it. Usman, he's calling out He's calling out Nate Diaz, Masvidal. None of them wanted. He's putting his money where his mouth. Tommy Fury boxed out. None of them wanted. Jake Paul's time
Does he
is
beat
now.
Tommy Fury?
Get
Dom,
used
does he
to
beat
it.
Tommy Fury?
Does he beat Tommy Fury? What he did to Tyrone Woodley, Tommy Fury had it coming. That's why he boxed out.
Hey, tell him to fight Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. because I heard that fight is in the making.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a
yeah,
good
yeah.
fight. I like that. I like that fight.
That's a good
Ray,
fight.
you
yeah.
like that?
Yeah, that's a good fight. I mean, I've always said Jake Paul does beat Tommy Fury, but it's a real interesting fight. It depends what type of Chavez.
I don't
Jr.
think he
brings
beats
up.
Tommy Fury.
Oh, he beats Tommy Fury. Trust me.
I don't think he beats Tommy Fury. I think Tommy Fury is a real boxer. I mean, he's a prospect, basically
No,
the same as
Tommy
Jake Paul.
Fury's not a real boxer. This is the thing. Tommy Fury's family are real boxers. That doesn't make Tommy Fury a real boxer.
Yeah, I mean, he's from the UK, so I guess you'll know more than me, about UK fights.
Hey,
but
hey guys, you know that Chavez Paul fight, because Chavez has got the Mexicans. Man, that could be a super fight in pay-per-view, because Jake Paul
I
has
think that
got
does a million pay-per-views. I think that does a million
more,
pay-per-views
man.
easily.
More. Dude, the Canelo Chavez fight did the million, and no one was talking about that fight. And Jake Paul, look, Jake Paul is popular. Like he has the white demographics already, right? And you add in the Mexican demographic, dude. I reckon that could do.
How embarrassing would that be for Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. if Jake Paul beats Julio Cesar Chavez?
It doesn't matter, man. He'll be making millions.
No,
Yeah,
but
I mean,
still,
really
they've
would
got a
be,
lot
man.
of money, man. That'd be
Yeah.
embarrassing. Like, I can imagine his dad would be embarrassed. Imagine that.
Oh,
Ray.
his dad. Well, do you see when his dad was shaking his head against Canelo?
Yeah.
Imagine what he's going to do when he's.
I mean, but didn't he lose against Anderson Silva?
Yeah, he did. He did,
Yeah, he
to be
did.
fair. But Anderson Silva's
I
got
mean,
skills, though.
And
Anderson-
I
that's
don't
why
think-
Dana White said that why doesn't Jake Paul call out Anderson Silva?
I don't
Yeah.
think Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. will step up to the plate. I don't think he has the cojones to even step up to face Jake the Great.
Nah, I think he
Jake
will
the
do.
what?
Jake the Great. Is that his new
Are you putting my dangler, mate? Jake the Great.
Jake-
Hey,
you know
that's
what?
never
You know,
happened.
you must
Jake.
have- you know what, Ray? Dom must have been. I mean, Dom, you must be following him from his days when he was on YouTube from a young kid and stuff.
Probably.
His days when he
Because
was on the Disney Channel.
Yeah,
Listen.
man. There's no way.
All
His
jokes
days when he
aside,
was on the
no.
Disney Channel.
No, all jokes aside, it should be like, people say he's a YouTuber, but you guys are YouTubers too, and you comment from YouTube channels talking about he's a YouTuber. Well, what are you? You're a YouTuber too, and you should learn that.
Yeah, but I'm not going in
Jake
the
Paul-
ring though. That's the thing.
Listen,
If I was
Mike-
going in the ring, I'd say I'm terrible as well.
Listen, Mike Tyson, Muhammad Ali, Floyd Mayweather, these people, when it comes to Jake Paul, they're nothing. Jake
Oh,
Paul
okay.
is the boxer of this generation.
Come on, Dom. That's just crazy what you're saying. Think about what you're saying, man.
It's just ludicrous. It's just ludicrous.
Like,
I
come
mean,
on,
now
man.
you're gonna-
That's just crazy.
But guys, just on Jake Paul, he is 23 years old. He's treating boxing seriously, and didn't Wilder start boxing at didn't he start
20?
in his early 20s as well?
Didn't AJ start boxing late in his years too?
Yeah.
No, not AJ. No, AJ's got
Yeah,
a.
he did. AJ did.
You know, he did. He started late, man. Ray, when did AJ
Like when
start?
he was like
again?
18 or something.
No, it was probably about 16, 17.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
but
that's
pretty
late.
late.
But
in
Wilder
boxing years.
didn't Wilder start boxing when he was in his early 20s?
What about Adonis
Yeah, he was
Stevenson?
about
He
in
started when he
2020.
was 27, I think. Adonis
No.
Stevenson, I'm pretty sure he started boxing like 27, didn't he?
I don't know.
Hey,
about that.
Sergio Martinez
could you-
started
he'd
boxing
already
when he was
turned
like
pro then,
21.
Yeah, that's true.
Something like that. I
Something
swear, Adonis Stevenson was started really late. They were showing it. I was watching his documentary. Something like that.
Jake Paul needs to work on his stamina. Like sometimes when he throws combinations,
Gets
He
tired,
then-
yeah.
he gets tired really quickly. He needs to do some miles. Like
Yeah, yeah.
start running hills at maybe at San
Some road
Bernardino.
work, some real road work.
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry, Dandara?
No, what exactly what you were saying? He needs to do road work. I don't really
Yeah.
think a lot of these guys is actually doing the real road work, actually jogging and running.
But Dandara, because he's got the physical attributes, do you think he can get there?
I mean, he's basically a cruiserweight,
He needs to go down in
fighting
weight.
smaller
Maybe.
guys.
He needs to go to
He's basically
168,
a
man.
cruiserweight fighting smaller guys. I mean, Tyron Woodley fought at 170 his whole UFC career, and, you know. So I mean, I want to see him like that. Tommy Fury fight would have answered all of our questions, if we're being honest. If that fight would have happened, it would have answered all our questions we had over Jake Paul.
You don't need to wonder. Jake Paul beats Tyson Fury. He already calling him out. It's on his bucket list. He says he wants Canelo Alvarez. Did you guys see his bucket list? He wants Canelo Alvarez, Mike Tyson. He beats Mike Tyson too. He knocks him out.
He also said he wanted Dana White. He also said he wanted Dana White. So how serious are we gonna take that?
I don't want to see that.
list?
I don't want to see that. I don't want Dana White to have to. I don't want. That'll be just a one-sided fight. We don't need to see that. One round, Jake Paul.
Yeah, yeah. I guess we have to see how Jake Paul's career turns out, right? He may, who knows what he goes on to do, but yeah, guys,
Imran,
man,
not bad
Imran,
for the prospect.
okay.
Imran, time is on his side because he's only 23 and he's always going to be the A side. So he can cherry pick his career to the point where he can maybe pick Chavez next, and then he can gradually then take on some of these like gatekeepers, and then maybe in his late 20s, early 30s, take on a real fighter. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. I think it's getting to that time of the night, man, where we call it a night because we're starting to say some crazy stuff now. You know what I mean? I think it's that time of the night where we say it's time to go bed, especially here, man. Ray, it's 2:00, man.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, so it's getting kind of late, man. I don't know what time it is where you guys are, but we're getting late. It's getting late here.
Hey, just shout out to Dundada, man. Hey, thanks for coming on,
shout
man.
out to Dundada.
Yeah, big shout out to Dundada. Look, we've been trying to get you on for a good few months now, man.
The other one is
Come
James
on
Deere.
next time y'all come on.
Yeah,
man.
Yeah. Now that you've been on, you'll be more confident to come on. Do you know what I mean?
Imran, the other one
exactly.
is
I'll
James
come
Deere.
on
Get
again.
James Deere on.
Yeah, James Deere. Yeah. I'm gonna message James Deere to come on. Definitely, he'd come on. He'd come on. He's always in the stream. I'll message him. But yeah, man. Thanks to everyone, man. I appreciate it, man.
All right, man.
I'm gonna.
Imran.
Thanks, Dom. Thanks, Dundada. Thanks,
Imran,
Ray.
before you go,
everybody.
Imran, I want to say thank you for letting me on here. I just want to remind you guys that what was his name? Tyson Fury did cheat Wilder.
Oh, come on, Dom. Stop. No, people keep saying that. I don't. There's no proof. There's no proof.
The gloves.
Tyson Fury was on.
Dom, you know what? It's getting late, mate. It's getting late. I think
the first fight he was on Adam
We need to get to bed.
I think you've had a bit too much, lad. I think you've had a bit too much.
The second fight,
it's getting late, Dom. It's getting really late.
Dom.
It's getting late.
Yeah.
It's getting late. Oh, man.
Man, just call it a night.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, lads, I'll let you go, yeah? See you later.
Take care. Dundada, Ray, Little Penny, everyone in the stream. Cheers, man. I'll see you guys.
Bye.
Steven's in the house. Say bye to Steven.
Steven, see you later, brother.
Steven.
We're going now,
Steven to be on here when I was on here, man.
Steven
on?
Oh no, Steven, he's on, but I don't know where he is. Like,
James D said, "I'll have a web camera but no microphone."
Hello.
Can't see.
Yeah, he's here. Steven.
Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you. Steven?
Oh, okay. Yeah. So Don Dada came on.
Yeah, he's on, man. He's on.
Okay.
Steven?
Yeah,
Yeah, he's in and out. I can't hear what he's saying.
Steven, what are you saying?
my phone's tripping, man.
Oh, man, that's it, man. Anyway, guys, let's call it a night, man.
All right, man. See you guys.
Take care,
All right, man.
guys.
Thanks for having me on, man.
No worries.